gotta break the muscle for it to grow.
No.
Say.
No, it'll grow back, hopefully, you know.
How are you guys this morning?
Doing good.
Good.
Good. We're gonna start our calisthenics here in just a minute, so everybody get ready. Or everybody wear our yoga pants. I got my yoga pants on.
Yoga pants.
Robert, Ryan.
Wear pants.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm gonna have
Ryan Mead, how are you doing?
I've been heads down on project work this morning, so
yeah.
I'll try to clear my head. Give me about first 10 minutes of the conversation to get out of the breaking, feeling my muscles broken. I'll get out of it. Just give me a minute.
Compartmentalizing is one of the most important leadership skills, right?
Totally. So this is a live test, like a role play of that behavior. Got it.
That's good. That's good.
I would apologize in advance. We have nieces and nephews in town with my kids, so it's a circus over here. So anytime I come off mute, you'll probably hear them.
All right. All right. No worries, Jasmine. It's all good. Nancy, thanks for keeping our notes up yesterday. Looks really good.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, I was just looking at it now. It looks really good. So guys, if you haven't seen Nancy have kept up, from notes. Well, not that one. This one here. Notes all day yesterday with slides and actions, to-dos, and from Scott's as well.
Because there was a lot of action items on that one.
There's a lot of action items. Yeah. There's a lot. That was good. And so now we are ready for today. So I appreciate it. Thanks, Nancy, for doing that.
You're very welcome.
Good. Leaving an event like this with clear actions. Giuseppe, Ryan, and I talked about we need about a month from now. We need to meet again and then make sure that we actually have started implementing some of these new things, have considered it, have changed our pitch, have changed our approach. Right? Otherwise, it's just talk. Because coming to events like this, it's not like Giuseppe, regardless of how experienced he is, he's not going to drop one silver bullet that's going to make it be 100% conversion rate. It's small things. We talked about that yesterday, right? It's small things where we learn from each other, where we pick up a way of communicating a specific thing, a way of presenting something that might have been more difficult for us in the past, or today we'll see in the role play, I'm sure, things we believe are a good way of presenting our value proposition or presenting a specific pitch idea just doesn't work, right? The rest of the team here would be like, yeah, the other guy got it better, right? And then we'll learn from that. That's really, really good. So no silver bullet, but small things. And if we do this in a month from now, we'll do small adjustments again. And when we get to the end of 2022, we're, kick ass, and then we'll continue, because then we want to play Super League or whatever we call it over here. Major League, Premier League.
Major League. Ask your son; he'll correct you on that one.
He does that all the time. Yes. So, just reminding folks of the rules of engagement.
Thank you. I just closed my email, Jorgen.
I know that. Ryan and I was out. We had one of our flagship customers early years. Half of you guys don't know, but that was Magpul. They do firearm stuff down in Texas. And Ryan and I went out there. He's an Iowa boy and been shooting since he was 3, so with shotguns. So they all loved him. They didn't like me because, first of all, I'm from Denmark, and second, I live in California, so I'm just a liberal fuck in their eyes. But I loved getting out there, and I loved having Ryan with me. And when we started meetings, they always started with what is the ROEs, rules of engagement, and I had to, as the liberal fuck, to look that up with my phone. What is ROE? And that was rules of engagement. I looked it up, and I was like, okay, so that's for this meeting here. And glad to see that C-levels were allowed to keep their phones on the table. Everybody below C-level was not allowed to keep their phones on the table. They need to listen and participate. So, hey, that's crazy. The rules for this call here is keep your apps and all of that stuff, email specifically in Slack, closed down, keep your cameras on all the time. We'll do definitely more breaks than just the one between the morning and the afternoon session. We'll make sure we get bio breaks and coffee breaks and whatnot. Nancy, thanks once again for keeping up with OneNote. And I guess Giuseppe, he's got a whole world of experiences planned out for Mira today with us. So looking forward to that as well. So that's kind of what we have here. Let's see here. Let's jump into the agenda for Wednesday. I think we'll start, Giuseppe, Ryan, and I will start capturing, some reflections from the day before. What did we learn? How did it, how is it sitting with us? Things we thought about. Because today, when we look at the session here in about 20 minutes, we'll start role playing. So that means we'll actually start applying some of the things that Giuseppe took us through yesterday: setting traps, value proposition, communicating value proposition, and factoring in what we know about the competition. What we established yesterday is their weakness and our strength. So we'll start to apply that to some real life scenarios. Before we came today, Giuseppe asked me to send him a example from CRM, just an email. I was looking at an email from a customer. Often customers are not sharing a lot with us. It's just like, come to a meeting, right? So we have to exercise good question technique, which is actually a topic we haven't even been trained in, but we'll do that maybe on a later session. But nevertheless, I found an email. I managed to find an email that had a lot of information. So there was something to build on, and I shared that with Giuseppe, and he will share that with us here, and then we'll get to work and see if we can crank up some good answers and be part of a role play with the team here, and we can learn from each other. So definitely looking forward to that. And then in the afternoon, Mr. Mead, you're up with a larger update for the partner. Similar to yesterday where we did marketing, today will be more on the partner side. So looking forward to that as well. So that's kind of what we have today, folks. Questions, comments?
Going back to review all Nancy's notes before we start role playing, for the record.
Yeah.
Make sure I get all the little things in.
That's right. All right. Giuseppe, Ryan, you guys want to manage us through reflections from yesterday here? We got about maybe 10-15 minutes, and then let's switch out to actually the topic of the day.
Yeah, I think I like how Giuseppe was pushing a little bit on the team yesterday. Why don't we start in a similar way? How about just a quick round the horn? I'd like to hear from everybody. What's one key takeaway from yesterday? And that might be a good way to kind of get our engines going this morning. Could be about anything that was on the table, but everybody has to contribute one thing. How about that? All right, we're going to go from the most hair to the least hair. I think, Anne-Marie, you start.
What? No, just kidding. No, I liked how he reminded me of the, objections in terms of, asking questions and delving deeper, because I keep forgetting about that. I always just want to have an answer.
Yeah, that's a great one. Good. Okay. I don't know. Are we going by length or volume? I can't tell. People's hair's up. So
cubic meters.
Probably between Jasmine and Dina. Yeah. Jasmine, you're up. Cubic meters.
I think Dina would be before me, but I think for me, it's similar to kind of what Ryan was saying. When we're in a demo, we feel like we have to answer so quick, and we're trying to hold on to the conversation. I think when they ask questions, to kind of clarify what they're asking, to be able to speak directly to their concern and not just kind of give a generic answer. I think sometimes I do that. So listening more, asking questions to clearly understand what their question is, and even more so what's beneath the question, kind of digging through that to answer better.
Nice. What is it? Isn't there a Hamilton line talk less, smile more, or something like that? For those of you familiar with Hamilton. Okay, awesome, great. Dina.
Yeah, those are two really good ones. I also thought it was really helpful for us to just spend some time as a team going through what do we each have as a perception of our customers? Because I think we all have different perspectives, different takes. So I thought that was really helpful. I think maybe we should do that periodically because we're all hearing things from partners, from marketing contacts, trade shows. And I think that helps with the objection handling. So I think you had said it, what we know our strengths are, of course, but then where we can pick holes in and feel confident, without bashing the competition, to really set ourselves apart and our team and the solution as far as where we shine and where we can add value and solve their challenges.
Really good. Nancy.
Oh, me. I think what I took to heart the most was when we were talking about competitors, and when everybody was listing out competitors, we talked about, Giuseppe said something along the lines that there's always going to be a new list of competitors, and we can't control that. But what we can control is ourselves, our company, and really looking internally in terms of, what can we be doing better, and always trying to look at it from a fresh perspective and look at our strengths and our weaknesses, and being able to look at ourselves in terms of, what can we improve on.
Yeah, that's really good. Awesome. All right. I think Brad, maybe you up next. Looking at hairlines.
Sorry, muted there. Yeah, no, you guys stole a bunch of good ones, but I think one of them was the competition discussion and just not looking at who are our competitors, but what are we up against? Not specifically with companies, but what do they have over us that we need to catch up to, such as brand awareness or online presence and things like that. But also the notion that ourselves are our biggest competitors too. Just trying to get better at what we were doing in the day before and always improving. It's easy to just point fingers at the competitor to try to do what they're doing, but to improve internally too and use yourself as something to get better than, I thought was a good point. So
great. Awesome. Scott?
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. I thought I was really excited about getting into the differentiators, and I think that's always interesting. But I think what would be really helpful is, before we leave one of those topics, is to kind of coalesce and say, let's all agree on what we think some of those top ones are, because I feel like we're kind of leaving a lot of stuff kind of out there, and maybe we've got that in the agenda later, but I don't want us to leave these topics until we can kind of summarize and say, okay, let's all agree on what we think, are sort of the top things, so we can come away with, some elements for the playbook,
Yeah.
So.
All right, and you're talking specifically on some of those overcoming objections, competitor and issues, some of those things.
Yeah. So I think we can, not just leave it like all the stickies, but let's take those stickies and let's try to put those together and say, okay, what are the top things that we all agree we want to kind of focus in on? That'll help Brad and I with our marketing messaging and knowing, okay, these are the things we all agree on. I mean, there's a lot of good ideas out there, but we need to kind of put it all together,
Yep. And we definitely have that as an action item, Scott. So I can tell that you're ready for it to get her done and include it. It's a good note. Maybe we could include that as a quick summation activity, but we definitely have it as an action item so that we don't let it on the table. It might sit there a couple extra days or a week, but we'll make sure we circle back up to it, if not this week. So that's a really good takeaway.
And normally, Scott, I would say with extended time, that would be something that would be done in something like this. I think with a compressed time, the problem is to it, right? I mean, you give somebody, we go through it and kind of talk about what the challenges are. We get them on the table. Then we talk about how we should be addressing those challenges in terms of how the communication goes, right? i.e., I can say we need to do better at focusing on, price, but if we don't go into how we should be addressing price and how we should be communicating those gaps, right, in training on that, right, which is what we're spending a little bit of our time on now, you then get to the point where you can start to develop scripts, etc. once you have that formula in between. So it's kind of like we either do 1 and 2 or we do 1 and 3, but we can't do 1, 2, and 3 in the compressed time. So 100% agree. And that would have been my ideal scenario. I think just based on timing and where we're at, there's a lot to do and we're trying to give everybody a baseline. So hopefully some of us can come out of this with the formulas and build a little bit of it ourselves. And then we can also go back and get some dedicated time to make, something more structured.
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah. Good feedback. Robert?
Yeah, I mean, on the for who the competitors are, I mean, everybody pretty much covered it, so it's kind of hard to come in late in the game. One of the things I thought was kind of really interesting was the homework for the facts. I think that's going to play in time to help out with the objective handling, where we can use that against our competition, but also reading more about the fact part that Giuseppe talked about, using that in emails to better write and script emails to prospects or even current clients, where we have something that's like, proven from Forrester or Gartner. So it really kind of opened my eyes to something I didn't think about initially.
Yeah, that's really good. I'll go and then I'll let Giuseppe and Jorgen also share. I also like the homework, Robert. That was a good one. I think another takeaway for me that hasn't really been said yet. It's just exciting to see all the marketing initiatives and the marketing, how far we've come already in a short period of time. And for me, practical application of the work that I need to do in CRM and being intentional about really activating some of those new things that we have in play, those new tools that we have in play. Look forward to future, automations, et cetera. I know we're going to talk about that a little bit more this afternoon, but that was a really good for me to see and a reminder for me to walk away and actually, take action there. So that was one that I think hadn't been mentioned yet. Jorgen, I'll let you go next, and then Giuseppe can round us out and kick us off.
Yeah, and so, piggybacking a little bit on what Nancy said about the perceptions that are in our head. So when we meet an objection, the whole thing about, and we think we've heard this before because we're typically higher priced than so-and-so. So we believe that's the issue, but is it really the issue? Let's ask, what is the issue, right? So let's really understand that objection. And as Giuseppe mentioned yesterday, an objection is, an excuse to actually provide some more information, right? That's always good to think about. When we have removed all objections, closing is easy. So yeah, no, it was really good. And I agree with you, Ryan. The marketing plan yesterday, I was just like blown away what Brad and Scott had put together here, and specifically also around Microsoft, right? Ryan, you've been part of the leadership here for the last 7 years, right? We've talked about that Microsoft mountain, but it's really difficult to penetrate. It's difficult to get that path into them, and then getting some experience in here that knows how to work the ropes, that has some insights, and knows the path. That's really helpful.
Yeah, I continue to feel like I'm behind the 8 ball, Scott, as you plow some new ground for us. But I do promise someday I'll catch up.
Oh, no problem. No, it'll be a lot of fun.
It's worthy work. Yeah. Great. Awesome. Giuseppe, do you want to round us out?
Yeah, no, I think that was all great. I think the realization is a big step of it. Just seeing what there is out there, right? It's you don't get change if there's no adoption or acknowledgement. So it's good that you guys are seeing some of these gaps or holes. That's the first part. And then the second part is participation. So like yesterday, I can just, as we get into it today, don't be afraid to fail, right? Go out there, give it your best effort. That's what this exercise is for. And do just what we did yesterday, right? Just be active, be participating in what we're doing. And, we'll try to make it a little bit more fun today. I've tried to structure it in a little bit more organized way in terms of the feedback for what's to come. That'll make sense. But I did want to start it off on a little bit lighter note today, if you guys don't mind. So I'll ask you to jump back in to my favorite app in the world, which is Miro, to kick off. And actually, once we're all there, let me know. I'll tell you exactly where to come or go. And I forgot a function, which probably would have saved us 15 minutes yesterday. But we're going to be heading over to where it says warm-ups and wake-ups. And if you guys, I will share my screen quickly. So that might help too. should all have brought you to me, right into this dashboard, and I'm looking right here.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So we can zoom into this area here. All right. We got a fun more get to know everyone. I don't know, we do have some new team members. I know we've had a few interactions with one another so far, but I'm not sure how much face-to-face time we've had. But for me, it's always good to get to know people a little bit. So what I was hoping to do for the next 7 minutes here is 2 truths and a lie. So if you see your name, you got 3 place cards. Just type out something about yourself. Again, 2 truths and a single lie in any order. And then we'll go through it and we'll try to guess as a group here.
I was like recently, within the last couple of weeks, I was like, I got to remember this for the next time we do 2 truths and a lie. I'm blanking on it.
It's just 2 things that are truthful about you, right? I.e., you're a gun fanatic. I mean, that could be one.
Yeah, but it's got to be.
No,
It's got to be
maybe
close
Jorgen
enough to
already
the
gave that one
lie,
away.
so people can't.
Yeah, I gave
so
that
people
away.
don't know me. Yeah.
I'll do my own as well.
I don't understand why this is so much more challenging than you would expect. It's like, I know what the truths are, but I'm trying to think of a good lie.
Right. Well, Nancy's done. So Nancy, we're gonna start with you. Everybody else can continue their own. But if we scroll down to Nancy's, I'll read them aloud, and we can kind of go from there. And if we all have a thought on which one's a lie, we can kind of shout it out. But Nancy loves photography. She's a brother in a fraternity, and she has met Justin Bieber. Any thoughts? I'm assuming. I'm maybe guessing.
I don't think she's met Justin Bieber.
Yeah, that's kind of a crazy one for me as well. Any other thoughts? Oh, it's a brother in a fraternity. I don't know if this is like a trick. She's like tricking us with this. I don't know if you can.
Trying to keep a straight face.
I think I would pick that one as the lie.
Right? Yeah, I'm not sure. Can you be a brother of a fraternity as female? I don't know. Could I be like a sister in a sorority? I don't know. I feel like it's like one of those things we don't know, and so she threw it in there. I don't know. But yeah, maybe I would go with that one. Any other guesses? No. All right. You want to tell us, Nancy?
So the lie is I've met Justin Bieber. And the truth is I am a brother in a fraternity. I went to Virginia Tech undergraduate, and I'm a brother in Delta Sigma Pi, and it was a co-ed business fraternity. So yes, I'm a brother. And the funny thing is
you are a brother.
I am a brother. Yeah.
I didn't read it like that because I would have actually picked that one.
I am a brother in a fraternity. And my next door neighbor's son is in the same fraternity. So technically their son is my brother.
Wow.
So yeah, I was in a fraternity.
See, I knew there was some type of twist to it.
Yeah.
You know, where when I read it, I'm like, she's tricking us. But...
Yeah.
So no Bieber fever. For
no
Nancy.
Bieber fever for Nancy.
Oh, it's a bummer. All right. How about Brad? Let's go with Brad's here. I'm going to zoom in on Brad's here. says, I won the all school spelling bee in 4th grade. Okay. Brad's, marketing. He's got to be a good speller. He plays the drums. And I have been a DJ at nightclubs. Whew. It's not DJ Brad, though. It's like it's like DJ Scratch and Sniffer. It's got to be a unique name.
I'm gonna steal that.
The drums are pretty tough, man.
I think you came up runner up in 4th grade in the spelling bee. I don't think you actually won it.
Oh, that's harsh.
I'm gonna guess the DJ one is.
Do I give the answers away, or
I think we all got first.
Dina's got DJ. All right. I'll go with the drums. I'm thinking it's the drums is the lie. Anybody else?
I think the drums is the lie as well.
I think the spelling bee is the lie.
All right.
Spelling
No
bee.
other guesses.
I think the drums is a lie. Yeah, I think he has a guitar. I've seen that on his teams. So I think it's the guitar. He just replaced it with drums.
All right, well, the lie was the spelling bee. Ryan, you're right. I was not runner up. I got like 5th or 6th place or something.
Oh wow. Good one.
But yeah, Jorgen, I got the guitars in my office. Well, used to, but actually the drums is my musical passion. I've been playing the drums since I was like 7.
Mm.
All right.
Interesting.
Good to know.
Yes. Yep.
Interesting.
Drums are cool. All right. Now we move along to Scott. Scott loves to garden, has triplets, and he's never broken a bone. I know one of them for sure. So actually, I'm pretty sure I know 2 of them. So I'm not going to guess this one, but
I'm gonna go with the triplets. It's a lie.
good guess.
Everybody's broken a finger, right?
Crazy one. I haven't broken a finger.
You never broke a finger?
Never broken anything.
Me.
I don't think
never broken a bone.
Scott loves to do garden stuff. I just don't think he does that.
I think he does.
He's a garden.
I'm not going to guess because I think.
This is a good one. It's a good series, Scott.
I didn't think they were very good, but okay.
Yeah.
I'm going with never broken a bone.
Yeah.
Me too.
Good
Yeah.
one. All right.
Same.
Scott.
That's the one. Yep. I'm very accident prone, so
I
I thought skiing and I did break a leg with skiing and some other ones too, some other fingers but yeah, that was the big one. Last run of the
Wow.
day.
Ouch.
Down on the chairlift run.
All right. Let's move on to Jasmine. Jasmine loves to do hair. Although a lot of the young ones running around, there's probably a lot of hair to do. I was the youngest head lifeguard in Chicago, and she learned to code at 13.
That's
Also a good set.
I'm gonna go the hair thing. No way.
let's see.
Maybe forced to do it, but doesn't love it.
Yeah. That's a good
I'm
one.
going with the lifeguard. I don't buy that one. Because you haven't been to the beach yet. So I don't think you hanging out by the water in Miami.
Oh,
That's
this one's really hard.
This is
I'm
hard.
also I'm gonna go to learn code at 13. I think she learned at 11.
4.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ryan on that one. I think the more specific, the more dangerous it is.
All right. Jasmine, what was it?
I don't love to do hair, but I'm good at it. As you can see, I don't love to do hair. So my daughter's always, can you do my hair? I'm like,
But it's like the shoemaker, right? Loves to make shoes, just never makes his own for
Yeah.
himself. All right. All right. Let's go to Ryan. I've installed pool tables professionally.
That's true.
I have been a professional actor.
That's
Okay.
also true. Yeah.
It's bullshitting us now. And I have been a professional ski technician.
That's also true. I don't know why I thought it was 3 truths.
White background there, Ryan.
Right. So any guesses? I'm gonna go with maybe a ski technician. I'm gonna go with
I'm
the ski
going.
technician.
I'm going with the ski technician too.
Same.
The F is a
Yeah,
ski
same.
technician.
I don't know,
Yeah.
pool tables is
Technician.
What defines professional actor, anyways?
Right. I mean, I can see
You
it.
get paid. Do you have to get paid for it?
Are you on some Netflix show that we don't know about, Ryan?
Yeah. What
Yeah.
type of acting was this, by the way? Any other guesses?
pool tables. Nah, I don't say it.
Ryan?
Yeah,
got?
so I have never been paid to act. I have been paid and held roles and responsibilities of installing pool tables and as a ski technician.
Wow.
Get out of here.
But I knew you're a drama guy, so you
I've
have
done
acted,
plenty of acting, just not professionally.
just not professional.
Oh, he really tricked it. That was
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Ryan, you did mounting bindings and waxing and
Yep, sharpening edges. Yep.
I did that too. I did that at a ski shop and tennis shop
Yeah.
in high school.
I did tennis rackets too.
Yeah, I just
Right.
strung
Yeah.
rackets. And,
Holy
Right,
cow.
that ski technician
Maybe we
job,
worked-
that's
maybe we
very
worked the
common
same
in Iowa,
place.
isn't it?
Yeah, I was in North Carolina. I was up in the mountains.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
That's why I
Okay.
guessed it. I was like, well, it's
Yes.
not in that location really, but okay.
Right.
Another life.
That's right.
All right. Let's move on to Anne Marie. She says she's a professional gambler.
Mhm.
She did a 15K and she likes rock scrambling. Okay. She's trying to confuse us.
Interesting.
Not a
You gotta be on
So
show,
the
Amber.
poker face.
Hey, I live in Vegas.
I can say no to the professional gambler.
Yeah, that's
Anne Marie, what's rock scrambling?
It's the hiking around here where you actually have to almost like climb rocks to get to where you're going.
Okay.
So it's not just a
Gotcha.
regular hike. It's not just dirt. You actually have to go over rocks.
I
gotcha.
think you know too much about that. So
Yeah, that's what Brad was asking, I think.
Yep. He's
Yeah.
knocking
I'm
it
gonna
down.
say no, you did not do a 15K.
I'm gonna say the
I'm saying the
I'm
gambler.
gonna say the
Yep.
gambler.
Gambler.
Gambler, yeah. Yeah.
You're right. I don't have a good poker face. I'm not kidding.
That's a great point. I didn't even think about that. I just laughed the whole
Right.
time.
I mean,
Yeah,
it doesn't mean she
Look,
makes a
you
lot
just
of
gave
money.
up right
She just
away.
lose a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to Dina. Dina's drank out of the Stanley Cup. She can say the alphabet backwards, and she loves hot yoga.
Jeez.
What is hot yoga?
Where you do yoga in
Torture.
a hot place.
Like in a
In a
hard
very
night.
hot place.
Yeah, it's really hot. You just sweat the whole time profusely. Like 2 minutes into class, you're dripping.
I bet she can say the alphabet backwards.
Yeah, I'll go with the alphabet too.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think she
that's
practiced that
true.
back in college. Like,
Yeah.
because cops make you say it for
Totally.
sobriety. So I bet she has it like she can sing song it backwards.
And Stanley Cup, I think that's otherwise that's very specific.
It is very
Bring it up.
specific.
She does not love hot yoga. She actually hates it. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I think that's right. I think you're
I
right,
do.
Jorgen.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that
I'm
too.
gonna go with the Stanley Cup. I'm going with Stanley Cup.
Right,
All right.
Dina?
Ready? Giuseppe, you're right. So I
Oh,
saw the Stanley Cup, but I didn't want to drink out of it. They had it at my dad's restaurant and everyone was drinking out of it and I was not in the front of the line, so I did not want to go after all the strangers.
You were like, ew.
Is that pre-COVID?
Gross. Pre-COVID.
Yeah,
Okay.
even so, right?
Yeah.
Awful.
We've lost Giuseppe.
All right. Moving on. I would have to say this. I kind of want to hear you say the alphabet backwards.
Okay. ZYX, WP, TES, RQP, ONM, LKJ, IHG, FED, CBA.
Told you, bro.
Wow.
Told you. College. You learned that in college, didn't you, Dina?
No, not in college. So when I was, I don't know, maybe 5, one of our family friends was painting the outside of our house, and we lived in a ranch. So my older brother was kind of going window to window, just kind of annoying the crap out of him. And I was following my brother. And so he was teaching my brother the alphabet backwards just to kind of keep him busy. And I was like, I want to learn. Like, oh, you're too young. And so I just went and taught myself. And, yeah. It did come in handy in college though, Ryan.
A bar trick.
Exactly.
I'm kidding.
They ought to just teach that in school.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Shoot. All right. Moving on. Jorgen.
Yeah. It was
So, Jorgen,
3 truth, right?
Yeah. He said he's run 3 marathons. Okay. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records for most somersaults in 30 minutes. And he loves cliff jumping.
Oh, jeez.
I'm going to go with cliff jumping as a lie.
You don't think he's a fan of heights? Not a risk taker?
I don't think he's done Guinness Book.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. The somersault.
Yeah.
The somersault. Yeah,
I
I'll go
gotta
with
go with that one.
I mean, I think he could be in it. I just think we would have heard prior from today.
that. Yeah.
I am in the
Like,
Guinness
you
Book
know,
for the most
We have some former
somersault.
Microsoft insiders, and I also in the Guinness Book of World Record. Like, I think we pull that on sales pitches.
Right? Or he would have it like in the back of his room on the wall, like a big freaking plaque that they give out.
Exactly.
I don't see it back there, and it's got to be in his top accomplishments in life, if that's the case. All right. So what is it, Jorgen?
I'm absolutely afraid of heights. I hate cliff jumping.
You're
Are you really in the Guinness Book of World Records?
Yeah. Twice actually, in 1999
That's a
and 1991. No, totally not.
I'm ordering that book on Amazon right now.
But hey, come on, guys! Any idiot can get in it. I mean, it's just a matter of figuring out some specialities. And so for us, it was 6 guys doing it for 30 minutes. We had to, somersaults, just 30 minutes. Just basically, we were running from one trampoline to another. Just so you just run around for 30 minutes, and you do. It just takes a little, stamina, right? You need to stay on it to do it for 30 minutes. Otherwise, you break your legs. But hey, it's not impossible. The 3 marathons are actually much more crazy. Richard bought. I thought you knew actually, Ryan, because Richard bought the books when we had the office in LA. He was like, no, it's not, and then he bought the books, and then he was like,
That's hilarious. Good job.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Wow.
All right. Well, learn something new every day.
You know, discussions with people with that fact.
All right. Over to Robert. Robert, as a lifeguard, recorded over 300 saves. Clearly some silly people in the pools by him. Robert's been to every state, including Hawaii and Alaska. And Robert created a special needs swim program at the YMCA.
Ooh.
A lot of aquatic going on with Robert.
I'm going to go with the Hawaii, Alaska.
Yeah.
Every state, because this seems to be a
I
theme.
think it's the 300 saves.
I hope it's.
That's
the
a lot of
300
saves.
save. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I had like 1 in 5 years, so.
Right. That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna
the
go with
Jersey
that first
Shore
one.
It does have some years on you.
Okay.
One scene.
That's where his head went, Robert. That's where his head went. Yeah. Yeah, I would go with the 300 as well. It's just a high number. I can see you going to 50-some states. All right.
Sure. Want the answer?
Yeah.
I haven't been to every state.
Oh.
I've actually had
300
over.
saves?
Literally, I have. I think was it like 470 saves. I used to work the ocean, so.
Oh,
every
you were
day-
the ocean.
So when you're working in front of a bar, Joey Harrison Surf Club in Jersey, you're always jumping in after the jumping in. So hurricanes and other stuff. So in 7 years, close to almost 500 saves. It was almost a record.
Wow.
Amazing.
Wow. You should have went for the Guinness Book.
Oh, that's a record you don't want. That's like that's a bad record. But
yeah, you could have thrown a kegger or two and you would have been there. You'd have topped off. All right. No, it was very good. I got one more.
How about you, Giuseppe?
I did my own down here. So I've once drank a gallon of milk in an hour. You guys have ever heard of that? I'm a 6 handicap golfer, and I cut my own hair most of the time.
I mean, I've seen Giuseppe golf. He's pretty good at it. So I don't know if it's 6, but he's definitely good at golfing. Cut my own hair, yeah. Yeah, looks like it could be easy enough.
I think you threw up before you finished the gallon of milk.
Yeah.
That's a lot of milk.
Yeah.
That's a lot of milk.
Although you probably did it right after you tried to do the tablespoon of cinnamon or whatever.
Oh,
that's impossible.
There's some like
milk combo.
Yeah, some trip with the soccer guys, and they were putting you guys were putting each other up to dares. I can envision it. I don't think you got through it.
Yeah, I agree.
Anybody else? Takers?
Going with the 6 handicap golfer.
I'm going with the cut your hair.
Cut your hair.
Gallon of milk.
Okay. So it's I'm not a 6. I'm actually an 8. So this is the only one. The gallon of milk.
What?
I made it 2 minutes after, and I threw it all up. So I did finish it, and I finished it in like 52 minutes. And it all came up cold. Yeah, it came up as cold as it went down.
That's a lot of pure. That's a lot of pure.
It was amazing.
How?
There was like 6 of us who did it, and I was the only one who actually finished it. But I watched it come up of everybody while I was trying to continue finishing mine. Yeah, and I cut my hair. I would say most of the time. I do go periodically and get it professionally cut, but I don't like people messing with my hair. Most of the time, they do it as crappy as I do it, so I'm like, wow, whatever. So my hair will go from really short to really long, or I'll just show up one day and it's buzzed off. Yeah, I just get tired of it, and I'm like, I don't want to go see that lady or some new. I hate going to salons, place like that. No, I just.
Giuseppe, what's the technique for drinking a gallon in an hour? Is it a little cup at a time, a little small, or how much? What's the technique?
I think I just tried to drink it as fast as I could, and then I got to a point where I was so full I didn't think I could finish it, and I just kind of settled for like 10 minutes and then went back at it. When
does that kick in? Is that like halfway through? Then you think you're like, I'm too full.
Yeah, about halfway. At about 30 minutes, you hit a big wall. Yeah.
Was it whole milk or skim?
I don't remember what it was. I think it was it was probably 2%, if I remember right. I don't know. It was like, I think it was like 20, 19.
So that was the total challenge. Who could drink a gallon of milk in an hour? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's extremely tough.
Interesting.
It's like you said, it's like the cinnamon one. It's another big one. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, I didn't miss anybody, did I? Before I jump out of here, we did everybody, correct?
No.
So
I think that was it.
Well, good.
Good exercise.
Now we know everybody a little bit better. I wanted to jump back over and kick things off here. See if it comes up on the right page, and of course it didn't. Let's see.
How old are your kids now?
12, and then the twins are 9.
Okay.
Yep. Just gonna have to switch. I'm gonna have to switch screens. Is all today.
They're ready for teenagers soon.
Better believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm ready for it, but they are. I don't have to cut my hair more frequently. All right, and on the wrong. Really running the number today, aren't I? It's weird. Yesterday I set it up the same way as yesterday, and today it's just blowing up on me.
I see your screen. If I see your PowerPoint slide, if that's what you're asking.
Did you mean to do day 3?
Yeah, right. It's day 3.
No,
okay,
it's
yeah, that's
it's
right.
got the wrong one up. Yeah, guys. Just a second, I'm going to shut it down and reload it up. All right, now we're back to day 2. And day 2, as we mentioned, is going to be role play day. Look at that! I had a transition little piece that came through. That's cool. That was a bonus. So yeah, as we get into role play, right? I just wanted to kind of start. As we talk about role plays, and Jorgen kind of led into this a little bit earlier, right? We go through these conversations with people. We have emails that come through. We have responses from individuals, and sitting back and knowing what we know, going and doing the same thing day in and day out doesn't necessarily yield the results that we're looking for, right? Or get us to that finish line or that win that much faster, right? And I think, as Anne-Marie kind of pointed out, and I heard in a little bit, right? We need to focus on our listening, right? And it's not listening to hear, but it's listening to understand, right? We need to deliver insightful questions back to statements that are made by prospects first, and that's when we can really begin the process of closing the business. And I think that as we enter the role play today, I want us to kind of keep that top of mind. Don't jump to conclusions, right? Don't overthink it and get into another level of what we think that they want. Just confirm what they want first. If their email's open-ended or you think they're saying something, ask for clarification, right? And I know we talked about that yesterday, but it'll be really important as we go through the exercise. And I love this quote by Zig here. What you get by reaching your destination is not nearly as important as what you become by reaching your destination. And as you read into this, right, I think it can mean different things to different people, but it is about the process, right? It's about the process of knowing that day in and day out, we're getting emails from prospects and wanting to understand what each of those mean, right? You can get carbon copy emails, right? The price is too high. It doesn't mean the price is too high for everybody in the same manner. It could be different. And I know we talked a little bit about that yesterday. So as we go through the exercise today, think about that, right? Don't jump to conclusions. Don't have a misconception about what's being put in that email. No different than people complain about text messages, right? There's not much context to a text message because we're not engaged in that conversation. It's just words on a piece of paper, which again the person who's typing them can mean something very, very different than what they're conveying in that message. And you take it, like a game of telephone at end to end, right? It can be very, very different. So think about that as we entered the exercise today. We're going to distribute this scenario in just a second here and go through it together. I would say just for a minute, and from there we'll kind of keep it moving. Apologize, I'm moving something around in my deck. Okay. And as we look at it, right, we're gonna attempt to give you guys a handful of minutes, everybody, to kind of go through the scenario. And what I want you to do is kind of prep from your end, for that discovery/sales call, right? You're gonna get, and we're gonna role play between you and me. I'll be the guy who sent the email, communicating back to you as an employee of Dynamic Web here, and then on your side, think a little bit about it, what objections that might be coming, what traps can we potentially set on that call? Is there any stories that we can bring in? Is there going to be the opportunity for a trial close? So all the things that we worked on yesterday, I'd really like to kind of pull into this sales scenario. Coming out of this, why the role plays are going on, I'm going to ask everybody to jump to Miro. I'll show you guys just on the right-hand side. I put together a little diagram here for everybody. I'm going to pull it up really quick just so you can see it. It'll be to the right of where we just were. So again, back into Miro. On the right-hand side here, you'll see everybody's kind of name. And I'm not sure how much time we'll have to get through everybody here, but you'll see your name. So as Anne-Marie's presenting, Robert's presenting, I want you guys to think about, what you heard. So as the role play goes on, maybe there's something Anne-Marie says, right? I.e., well, I'll just go into what we talked about yesterday, right? Yes, I know our price is expensive, right? Grab a Post-it, throw it in here. Well, she mentioned the price is expensive, right? Then proactively, you know, what impact did that have on you as you heard that? Like, oh, I kind of cringed, like, oh, it's not good to admit that our price is expensive, you know, and instead, what would you have said? So when we wrap the scenario in the role play, we have some constructive feedback for things that we say on these phone calls that we might not be cognizant of, how that makes you feel as an observer on the outside, and then what we could have said in your eyes that would have made the scenario stronger, right? What would have made Anne-Marie's response that much stronger? So that's the format. Any question on, you know, what you hear, the impact it has on you? And again, this is helpful for Anne-Marie to understand, or any of us, right, as we go through, what are the things that we're saying, right? Maybe I say customization a lot, you know, and that makes me feel like, oh, this is going to be costly, right? Write that in here. Or maybe I'm using a certain word over and over, or maybe I'm talking about competition too much. Type that in there. You know, whatever you might pick up on what they're saying and how it could potentially be addressed in a better way. This is helpful for individuals as we go through our calls here with prospects, to be cognizant of what's going on kind of in the background. So anybody not participating in the role play, I'd ask you to come here and dump it under that individual's name and just kind of pull in the Post-it note right on it. For whoever's just functioning in ruling, just kind of zoom in. So it'll be that much easier to type your notes on the Post-it and just dump a Post-it for each scenario. So 1, 2, 3 Post-its for each comment you have on that individual. Okay? Does that make sense?
Does, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And today I got plenty of Post-its all around this flipping thing. So hopefully we're good to go there. So, and to continue with this, any questions on the scenario, the goals for it, right? I mean, it's going to be an email, and actually I'm going to jump over to it now just to get moving. Here's the email, right? In this, oh, actually I copied in the wrong, piece for here. Give me a second.
I picked, I shared a recent one. I mentioned that this morning. I shared a recent one with Giuseppe from CRM that actually had a little meat on it. The customer was shared a little bit with us, more than they typically, you know, do. So that was why this was good. Robert, you might have, you know, 5% advantage on this because you've seen that email before, but you know, that's how it is. Otherwise we couldn't make it a real life example, right? You would probably be in over all of these sales emails anyway, right? So you have 5% advantage, but you know, it's still a good exercise to think about what you would have done now with the knowledge you have now, right?
Yeah, so I think we can all see it now. Sorry,
yeah.
I probably could have cut some of this out, but I mean, for simplicity purposes, right, this will be the email that's sent off to all you guys, right? Hey, thanks for reaching out. Currently, there are 200 companies bidding for our business, for an e-commerce platform. So you have 2 competitors involved, really nice. Sometimes we don't have that data. We engaged with Dynamic Web in the past, right? But based on our estimated quotes, you know, we're a very costly product, right? And it goes on to talk about CMS and e-commerce are critical components to the project, but one of the major challenges is that we offer both products and services, right? So you can kind of see the storyline here, absorb it for a minute. And the goal here, right, is as we go into the mock call in just a couple minutes, will be to address it, right? To really figure out what's going on and set goals, right? I really understand as we finish this and come back to you guys after, I'm going to ask what were your 2 or 3 goals for the call, right? And then from there, you can build in whatever questions, comments, example, proof points that you want. But this is your opportunity to kind of prep to address this email and to try to get these guys in the closing position, right?
Cool.
I'll leave it with you for a couple minutes. Go ahead, start taking your notes. If you want to write up your scenario, feel free to do so, you know, on a piece of paper.
And give us some good input, guys. Robert booked a meeting with these guys here today at, what was it, Robert, 1 or so today? So on my time, yeah. So we actually will be in the fire soon.
I think we have it set up for 1:30. Like I said, it
Yeah,
was kind
yeah.
of interesting how this whole engagement came about, where he's like, "Don't talk to me." Send out the email, and he's like, "Hey, let's go." So
Yeah, nice.
still learn.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to call on one of you two in the next handful of minutes here. So and again, I think with a lot of sales scenarios, right? The most successful ones, you go into it with a plan. Not that that plan isn't going to be blown up or completely go sideways, but I think it's having that plan helps make you successful here. So figure it out what it is that are your goals for this call and how you want to knock through it. You know, maybe your focus is focusing on the competitors. Maybe your focus is on the product. You know, it's going to be up to you to kind of figure out how you want to address this. And if anybody thinks they're ready, you can also just volunteer. We'll get kicked off and go a little bit quicker. You can be the first guinea pig. All right, Nancy, you ready to go? I was just giving you a hard time, Nancy. I wasn't going to put you on the spot.
You got me my attention quick.
I'll go first. I'm ready.
Dina, all right.
Let's do it.
All right. So let me get my notes here. Ready for this? Cool. Thank you for volunteering.
Yeah.
All right. So just reference me as I'll be Rick in this case, and Dina will be Dina.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to call me up?
Yep. Ring, ring, ring.
Hey, this is Giuseppe.
I thought your name was Rick.
All right. Well, I'm Giuseppe, Rick's assistant.
Oh, okay. Giuseppe, is Rick available?
Oh yeah, just 1 second.
Thanks.
I love it. Get to the Hey, this is Rick.
Hey, Rick, it's Dina McKinney over at Dynamic Web. Do you have a few minutes?
Yeah, I do.
So I got an email from you this morning and just wanted to follow up and connect and maybe further understand some of your concerns that you had from our past engagement last year.
Oh yeah, I think I wrote them out in that email I sent to you. Yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like that's really important to you in making this decision to move forward with an e-commerce provider and partner. Can you share a little bit more detail about the concerns that you outlined in the email?
I mean, which ones? I mean, the big one is, price, right? And I'm really just looking for a comparison on you and Sana Commerce.
Okay, so in your last evaluation, did you feel that the solution that we had architected met the specific business challenges that you outlined as far as needing a CMS and e-commerce solution together with the ability to flag the complex requirements you have around offering a service with a product?
I mean, all I really got was a ballpark, right? I mean, when we engaged with Hillary last year, she just gave us like a high level number.
Okay, so maybe as a follow-up, we could go back and maybe do a little bit of a deeper dive on the requirements. But while I have you on the phone, if you could maybe give me, so it sounds like you're doing B2B now, you want to do B2C in the future. What does your B2B customer journey look like right now? Do they have any ability to log in, or is it just they can go to the site and there's no ordering taking place?
They can go to the site, but you know, and it's predominantly, again, it's all B2B. So I mean, they can get in there and order. We're just looking at increasing the complexity of what we want them to do on the site.
Okay, and who are you currently using?
We have something homegrown.
Okay, so are you running into a lot of complexity?
I mean, we have developers here that are building some of it, so.
Okay, so just looking for an upgrade and maybe a longer term solution.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, what you put in the outline or in your email, are those the only hesitations you have in moving forward with Dynamic Web? Or were there others listed here?
I mean, these are definitely, I think, the primary ones right now, right? I mean, this is a big hurdle to get over.
Okay, yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate you just being transparent about it, because I think my goal is to kind of pick up where Hillary left off and try to really show you the value. And I think from the notes that I saw, maybe we didn't do the greatest job of actually documenting the requirements and then showing how we're actually solving your business challenge. So I think we could do that if you want to pull in your team to do that maybe in the next week or so. A couple of things I'd really like to share quickly were just some success stories that we've had. So Tricor Braun actually upgraded to us a couple years ago. They've seen 50% year-over-year growth 3 years in a row. We consistently hear that type of success when someone upgrades to us from Sana, just because there's some limitations and there's just not as much functionality. So it's kind of like an apples to oranges comparison. So when we're talking about price, you know, if you're seeing the value in the solution that we're putting together, specific to your business requirements, the price is really competitive if we're looking at the number of hours or the level of effort, and then what that total investment looks like. Were either of those in particular something that stood out as far as, was it the total, you know, ROM that we shared, or was it just the breakdown of how long it was going to take us to do the work?
I think just the overall cost, right?
Okay, so was it, I think we were at a little over 100K. Is there a certain price that you saw match the value, or can you share a little bit more about where you are with that number?
Yeah, I mean, I've just talked to some of the competitors are about a third of the price.
Okay, so the difference in value that we're adding, so team expertise, I think Hillary might have covered that. The all-in-one solution, so the content management and e-commerce are just modular, so you're getting both of those. You're also getting modules for marketing and PIM for future phases, which I assume would be part of your e-commerce strategy. That's not in the email, but if you could share a little bit about that. We do phased approaches, so I know your priority is to start with CMS and e-commerce, get a B2C site up and running, to add that channel along with B2B. You can manage multiple sites in Dynamic Web. We also have multi-language support, which is standard for us, not for our competitors. So there's a lot to cover that is, I think, looking at what your long-term ROI and total cost of ownership goals are. Where we're going to be a little bit more our price is going to be a little bit higher because you're getting a different solution. So
so what's different about your solution then?
So
because I don't know if I'm like, you know, my challenge is, right, I mean, I'm getting what I see as two very comparable products, and you know, you're saying that I'm getting a different solution with you guys, but I'm paying, you know, 2/3 more.
Yeah, no, great question. So let me clarify. So with our solution, you get CMS e-commerce, I know digital marketing and PIM were not in your top priorities, but from a longer term e-commerce strategy and vision for revenue growth and just embracing digital transformation and supporting your customers and providing that user experience that your goal is to tie these testing certifications for services to your products. I think you mentioned the electrical safety glove and some other specific products. So you either sell those separately or together. That can be really complex business requirement. So if you just have a shopping cart, like Asana or some other players, there's going to be a lot of limitations where they're not going to be able to support it today based on your use cases and then going forward. So we also have digital marketing and PIM for flexibility and scalability with your goals and looking to grow. So for example, we have a customer right now that we're kind of doing the same scenario as you were implementing CMS and e-commerce. And then we are looking at implementing a product information management for them in probably a phase 2 or phase 3. Same with digital marketing. They're using like a constant contact. So they're fine with, because they want to be live by summer, move that into phase 2, because the other area that we're strong in and that we differentiate in is that we're reducing all of these vendors that you're using. So if you're using a homegrown system, it's all custom, right? So you're just going to have to keep customizing if you stay with it, which I think is why you're looking at us and Sana and some other players. So streamlining that, reducing those integration points, you're not going to get from a competitor. So if you look at the long-term value of your total cost of ownership and then your ROI, you're actually paying less long-term. It's a little bit more of an upfront initial investment. But I think if you're looking at this from a strategic level, you're not really looking to re-platform in a year. So the additional investment is worth it. I would just highlight another differentiator that we have is our team expertise is a core competency for us. So our delivery team they deliver on time. They are really strong in simplifying complex business requirements. We hear just from partners and customers that upgrade and move from other systems to us that we are really strong in their area. The round that we gave you is pretty accurate based on what we know. Once we get to a workshop, share an SOW, there's not gonna be a lot of change orders. We put in some padding in that to account for just unexpected things that come up. So I'll give you a minute here to kind of digest that. And then if you could share, if that helps clarify your concern about price. We can go.
I think the only thing it sounds like we can do, right? It sounds like, how about we just completely remove the digital marketing and PIM functionality so you guys can lower your cost that way? Can we just kind of pull out some of the features? Because you said there's a lot of things that we're going to grow into. Well, I don't want them today. I don't want to pay for them today.
So I can't speak to what you were quoted before. I don't know if that was included in the quote, but you don't actually pay for what you're not using. So on the software side, if you're just using CMS and e-commerce, that's all you're paying for until you decide to use the other modules going forward. And then on the services side, it's all T&M, which I had mentioned we're pride ourselves on being really transparent and open about estimates that we're providing. So you're never going to overpay for, if it takes us 1,000 hours, you're not going to pay for anything over that.
So have your guys' prices changed in the past year? Because I'm just wondering, I know Hillary gave me this estimate a year ago. Has your guys' dev rates gone up?
No, they're the same. So it would probably, I think we should look at the requirements again since it's been a year and just pull in our solution architect and director of engineer. We could probably do that in about a half hour and just kind of reevaluate where we are. And we'll let you know if anything changes on that side. But no, our prices haven't gone up. So.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
well, I don't have anything else. Like I said, I think we're at kind of a board. It's, I've worked with a couple of these competitors and they've gotten us quotes pretty quick. I know we had a good experience last time with Hillary. It was just, it's the stumbling block of you guys being 2/3 more has been hard to keep you guys in the fold.
So in your role as VP of IT, reducing number of integrations, streamlining your tech stack, improving customer experience, as you mentioned, those are all strategic initiatives for you, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And do you feel that you would be getting the same value in solving all of those in the same way with the other solutions that are a third of the cost?
I mean, I think they're solving a lot of our problems, right? And I mean, from a development standpoint, from what we've seen, you know, their hours, I mean, are less, you know, overall to build it. So I'm not sure if there's just less complexity there or not.
Are there other people on your team that are closer to the project that would be helpful to pull in for this discussion so that we can maybe pinpoint? I don't have the list of requirements in front of me, but it sounds like maybe we're missing showing some value on where we're solving requirements that we are that we know the competition is not able to offer in their solution. Does that sound like a good next step on your side?
Yeah, I mean, we could try to pull them back in. Like I said, I know we hashed it out last time with you guys, but I mean, we can go back at it. I think we're pretty happy with your guys' stuff to begin with. Just shocked with the overall cost.
Okay, yeah, I think that would be a good next step because I want to kind of look at more beyond just the email and just kind of look at more of the history so I can speak to it a little bit better and pull in, you know, your team so we can have everyone that has a stake in the project together and then decide the best way to move forward.
Okay, that sounds good. We can do that.
Anything else that's top of mind or a concern with wanting to move forward with us as a partner besides what you've shared?
No, I think this is our big barrier right now. So if we can figure out how to solve this, then we'll be good to continue with you guys in the loop.
Okay, well, I will set that up for next week and we will go from there.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks, Rick.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
That's hard.
Job, Dina. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for
Good
getting
job,
started,
Dina.
Dina.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very nice job.
No, that was
You did great, Dina.
It's never easy to go first.
Seriously.
But I also try to never make it easy. So
no, it's
So
good.
seriously.
It's good.
all right. So
Hey, just so you know, this was actually Robert's interview with Giuseppe and I. It was like half an hour, 45 minutes of this. That was his second interview, just so you know. and Giuseppe was exactly as much of a douchebag as he was on this one here. I loved it.
I know. It's like I just felt like I was just getting, you know,
but he plays not the worst of the customer, right? Because he's still engaging, so that's still a customer. But he's certainly not giving you anything to work with, right? He's not giving us a leg up, right? The only thing was, well, you know, I'm entertaining the call with you, right? That's why we're here, right?
Yeah.
So that's good. I like that. That's good training. Good job, both of you, both Giuseppe and you, Dina. All right, Giuseppe, how do we do it? Feedback now?
yeah, let's go through some feedback for her on this one, just so it's all fresh. And we here we go. Good. So we got a handful on here. Let me see. I'm gonna just stare at them really quick and then call out one, and then whoever wrote that one, if you want to explain, that'd be awesome. All right, I got somebody missed opportunity to recap what we do understand.
Yeah, that was mine. So I felt like just initially jumping into, I think, you know, early on it was something like, so I understand that last time we talked, you had some price concerns. And got us right kind of immediately into that conversation. I thought there might have been a good opportunity to just say, hey, this is what I understand. You're looking for this, you're looking for this, you're looking for this. Does that sound right? You know, kind of just get him a little bit agreeing before jumping into the disagreeing part. And so that's kind of, I moved that sticky note there, missed opportunity. Felt like I was pushed directly to price concerns as in the impact it had on me. And then the next one, yellow over, is recap the known needs first, or the known items. Again, I think that get him agreeing first, maybe.
Yep, I agree with that.
And I love that too. And I thought the same in as I read through it, this scenario when it first came to me too, is a lot happens in a year, right? Is the scope still the same? Have people changed? Why are you back a year later?
That's good. Catch me up to speed, maybe.
That,
right?
yeah, that's kind of like, why are you guys back? Why did it fail a year? Why are we back now? That would have been like my understanding, my thought as, kind of throwing it back out here that, hey, we're getting another swing at this. Why? And better yet, why didn't it close last time? Are the requirements the same? And that's why that's what I was looking for too. And I still got one more piece I was looking for, but I think getting into the call was exactly at it. I think at a juncture like this, it's getting back on, trying to reevaluate where we sit, why the numbers were what they were. And moreover, I would have loved to hear you ask, well, if you got a price quote for 1/3 less, did they scope it out? Can you show me what their scope was to compare it?
Yeah, I think I wasn't articulating that clearly, thinking that, and I wasn't saying it that way. Yep, that's a good
Because
point.
it's fair, right? Somebody's saying it's 1/3 of a cost. They're giving you a shot. Why not ask them, all right, well, what'd you get an estimate for? Or, and I said it multiple times. I said, well, they were a lot less hours. I was just waiting for you to say, well, how much less?
Yeah.
What was their hour scope?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'd like to address that more. Would you be willing to get on a call? If they're estimating 40 hours and we're estimating 120 hours, there's a big delta there, right? Can we get it on and scope that out to make sure, we didn't misunderstand something, or maybe your requirements changed, hence the delta.
Yeah.
No, it's a good one, and good catch there, because that was my big one too. I would have probably given up a lot more, but I was kind of stuck on that. I was waiting to hear that most of the call. All right, I got another green one. It says, had him review concerns, give further example. Whose was that? What did we hear there?
Stickies are mine. I liked at the very beginning. Yeah, the green one, one across the row there.
Yep.
She at one point said, I'd like to be able to review your concerns, and can you give me a further example of them? And then she asked for, I just kept writing. I guess she asked for clarification multiple times, and then she said, well, we'd like to give you we'd like to have the opportunity to show you value that we bring to the table.
Sure. No, it's nice focusing back on what he wants and then trying to tie the two together, which I think ideally coming into this next call, we should be able to do, that we understand the business need, we understand the requirements, and that there's value to that development effort.
And I like the way you had said to both confirm and ask for clarification, and she did that. And then she then talked, the impact I added that one about, and then she talked about how it could be a phased approach. We have compartmentalized in terms of CMS, e-commerce, and then future for PIM and marketing needs.
How about, no, thank you, Nancy. That's good. How about the post-it jump quickly into answering questions?
Yeah, agree.
Sorry, that's mine too. I'm sorry. I thought I understood the assignment of just 2 notes. Those are the only 2 I had, Dina.
Yep.
But that one.
I feel time pressed. Like I've got to get it out because he's going to hang up or he doesn't
seriously.
want to kind of thing. But
seriously, actually, I almost edited this because I feel like in the last 5 minutes of the call, you actually backed off of it and got much more into asking him more questions.
100%.
Yeah, I felt that shift. Like you were like, wait, I'm not going to answer a question with an answer, right? I might actually ask a clarifying question back to him in response of. There's just a little bit of ping pong, I felt like, in the middle where, and then as I tracked this one across in pink, so it created that back and forth ping pong, and then maybe just asking him a few more questions would have gotten him involved a little bit more earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally almost erased it though, because then all of a sudden I felt like you shifted into that.
Yeah, that's good feedback. And then the budget one, I didn't clarify the budget. That's a good one. Whoever put that.
Yeah. And I think in the end, without clarifying the budget, I think the impact it then had is you weren't sure where to go.
Yeah.
And you led down the path of features, right? I mean, all the way down the multi-language, et cetera. You started just kind of feature dumping a bunch of shit that, turned me off because I'm like, I don't care about any of this, right? I'm still focused back on development services, and you took it down a whole nother path as opposed to, keeping with, the focus of the development costs and asking again, how many hours, what type of hour difference are we talking? What type of cost difference are we talking? Do you think, the scopes are comparable? And if he's like, well, I'm not even sure because it was just a rough ballpark, I think that's where you cut it off. And it's like, okay, our next step is to get on that call with our development team and to understand what the requirements are. Otherwise, you're just scraping, you're scraping a wall. I don't think there was much more to do. And I think that's what I told Jorgen when I saw the email too. It's like, this is a freaking call. You're not winning this on a short 15-minute call one-on-one. You need to get through and really get to the bottom of the requirements. So I think it's a tough one, right?
I think I felt like I needed to keep going.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm with you though, 100%.
But I mean, that's the realization though. Sometimes you can't drive it home on a call and debate price, right? You have to get in there and really make sure you understand the requirements. They're laid out. They understand what's going on. You understand what's going on. And, going back to this whole thing coming from Hillary and it being a year ago, right? To make sure you completely understand it, right? Because at one point you said, yeah, this is accurate. We gave an SO, we would typically go from here and we go into an SOW. And I was thinking to myself, how does she know this is accurate if it was previous? Like, she hasn't asked me if things have changed. So there was a little bit of assumption happening there. And I think it's just kind of lesson in point, right? Sometimes it's just a call, right? And sometimes it's just a brief call to say, hey, thanks for this. We'd like to take another shot and to get out what you said. Is there any other concerns? That was probably the best thing that I heard too. Is there any other concerns? Just reaffirming that this was the only main point that we needed to nail down, and that another technical call, if he would agree to it, would get us to that point where we've pushed out all the concerns off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all good feedback.
Anybody else, anything they wanted to highlight that they heard or impact, or what they maybe would have done a little bit different?
I think in an opportunity like this where they're coming back, I think we should always thank the customer, but in a situation specifically like this, like, they didn't have to let us come back to the table. So I think just thanking them in the beginning and then like reassuring them that, we're going to do what we can to win their business this time around, I think gives us a little bit, like, they trust us a little bit more and kind of can let go of kind of what happened in the past and open up a clean slate to giving us like a fair chance in moving forward. And I think that would have also helped with the harshness tone that you kind of had in the beginning, being able to just kind of show like gratitude for being at the table again.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like I really didn't put myself in the real situation. It's like I
Yeah.
Totally.
go through the process. But yeah, it's a really good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah, no. And I think to conclude too, just you had really strong persistence throughout the call. You just kept on going at them, which is good, right? It's sometimes you can get shut down and you just need to find different ways in methods and paths. And that was, as I talk about, setting up a goal for a call, oftentimes whatever those goals were can be completely derailed based on what's being said. And it's just, you got to keep persistent with it and try to also centralize back on that key piece of his messaging, which is that, in his eyes, and he confirmed, right, the price is too high. So it's just, we got to get on that call and go through the scope. And if we can get the competitor scope to try to compare.
Yep.
I have just one quick question, and I put a post-it. She mentioned something because we're doing like a similar type of an industry or things like that, and the idea of building trust. And I put that note about, do we have case studies from other customers that maybe could, I don't know, when do you guys all show those or share those, or in terms of, I think, hearing from other customers and their successes would help build trust and That's one of the things we talked about yesterday was the whole idea of building trust.
Yeah, I
Do we
think she
have
did a good
case
job of.
studies?
I think she did a good job of dropping that Tricor Braun just as
Yeah.
an example. And I think then, and typically Nancy in prep for that call, we drop in a couple case study slides that try to speak unique to this. I think like Ducal could be a good one, right? They're integrated to NAV. They're also a medical supply company.
Right.
Yeah, so that's where we would typically do it. Although I did like how Dina, you started down that path kind of in storytelling piece of it, to at least drop one example.
Yeah, I like that. And I think
Mhm.
that, the idea of relationships and seeing it from other customers would help me for sure when making a decision.
Mhm.
I was just curious. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Dina, one comment. I heard you mentioned at some point in time, you said, well, Giuseppe was complaining about our price, and you said, well, our solution is different. We have marketing and PIM and CMS in addition to e-commerce, which is right. But I think we can all do a better job explaining or confirming the value PIM or marketing, those differentiators to the competition, what they're doing, and confirming that it's important for him. Of course, if it's not, then then we're at a hotspot, right? Because then it's basically e-commerce, dynamic web e-commerce against Sana e-commerce in this situation, or net to net e-commerce, which is probably, assuming it's faster to implement, right? They can do it. What did we hear from Giuseppe yesterday? 3, 4, 5 days. I mean, it's probably a difficult hit. So what I would do was probably be to get him to accept the value of PIM. He is actually mentioning it in his email. He's mentioning PIM in his email, that he needs as a robust product information management.
You actually call it content though.
Oh, content info. Okay. So
Yeah.
I would probably have seen, is there something here for me to lean on? Because if I can get him to say, yes, I need a PIM, boom, then suddenly your price, you can hit Sana with price, because they need to pull in some perfume shit, which is going to be much more expensive, right? So I either that or the marketing piece, because I think those would be the best options for us to hit the competition. I think often we just believe that customers, they probably already now see the value of a PIM or of a marketing solution, but they don't. I mean, think about how long time we had to spend to get our head around it just internally in Dynamic Web to really truly understand PIM, what it could be used for. So I think communicating that is important with facts, which is on for later today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and let me clarify, Jorgen. He called it content and then talked about content for products. He did not call it PIM.
Oh, he did not.
But you're 100% right. That's what he was saying, right? So I still think the gateway to the conversation is, hey, help me understand. You talk about this idea of managing product information outside of NAV.
Right.
Exactly. What does that look like? Then you're right. We open the door to let's talk about why you need PIM.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Because customers aren't always going to call it the same thing, right? They're not going to call it the same thing. Call it, yeah.
Right. Because sometimes, sometimes the thing about communicating our value, sometimes I shortcut it a little bit. If I can just beat the competition, I don't care about communicating my value, because if I can beat the competition, I got it. Unless there is a risk that we will lose to a no decision, right? Which is the biggest competitor of all. But if I can beat the competition, I got it. So that's a little bit shortcut, because then you don't need to communicate all your own shit. You just beat them. But there's different strategies.
Mm-hmm.
No, good thoughts, good comments. Again, I think it was a good call. Good and bad to take away from it, in terms of where we focused, and I think where we could have refocused more time. But also getting out of it in the end exactly what we wanted, I think is another call to kind of further refine from there, which is good, right? To keep the process moving along.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Do we want to take a short break here, come back? We'll do another one.
Let's do it.
Makes sense.
I think that sounds great.
short 5 minutes. We'll see everybody back. Bio, water, drinks, refills.
Yep.
All right,
All
guys.
right.
We'll see you in a few.
Cheers, Susan.
Yep.
All right. Guys with a quick bio break. In and out.
For the win.
Right. All right, Dina came back. Just waiting to get like a hate message from you, Dina.
It's in the mail.
You're muted. She's swearing, so she kept herself on mute. Kept herself swearing.
I'm throwing F-bombs at you. No, I'm kicking myself because I think I just skimmed the email too quickly. Like I should have caught some of these things.
Yeah, there's a few. I think there was a few in there. It's a pretty interesting email, and that's why I love when Jorgen sent this one over, because there's a lot inside of it. I think in angles, which is why I picked it in particular, because it's like I can take one angle with, the first one angle with the second, one angle with the third, right? And you can approach this in a very, very different manner. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Which makes it even harder, right? In a short call to figure out what is the most critical one, and maybe focus on the wrong one.
So with linemen's, Robert, were you just doing some prospecting, or how did he end up getting back in touch with us?
This is interesting. I guess he actually stopped by the website, and it showed. I guess it showed up on what is it?
Lead feeder.
It showed that he stopped by, looked at the site, our website. So Jorgen's like, "Hey, what do you think?" I'm like, "All right, I'll go after him." So I called him, and he had absolutely no interest. He's like, "Yeah, whatever. You guys were like 200,000, 150K starting price." And I was like, "Look, let me have your email address. I got a couple of thoughts." He's like, "Okay, if I email you?" And he's like, yeah, whatever. So I sent him a very generic light email that left it open for him to come back. And this is what he came back with. And it was kind of interesting that followed up by saying, "Hey, man, why don't we schedule a call and let's take a little bit of a dive into what you're looking to do. It looks like you really haven't moved with Santa or Digital Vantage Point or Navtenet. What's going on with them and why are you coming back to us?" And he's now engaged with us. So we actually did the demo for him about a week ago. And he's like, "Reach out to me. I want to speak to you this Wednesday." I was like, "Not a problem." Put it on the calendar, the little window we have. So Jorgen and I are going to go talk to him again, and then probably get into the more of a customized demo form where we could show him the value and benefit we could bring to him. Part of the body of the email going back was like, "Look, we changed some of our processes internally. I said, I think we have a starting point of $46,000. How does that sound? And on top of it, we have a low code, no code position now." And he completely engaged. So that's why this is kind of weird for me to do, because I'm prepping in my head for in an hour and 10 minutes to speak to this guy. And I'm like, all right, Giuseppe's gonna throw something at me. And I'm like, I got to think differently when I go back to him, So, but no, this is actually going to be, a good win for us because he's back and he's engaged. So it's something I'm pretty ecstatic about.
Awesome. Yeah. That's great.
All right. Well, let's jump back into it. We gotta hopefully we can get through 2 more of these. I'm hoping, depending on time, unless somebody gets hung up on it in a call, which has been known to happen. It hasn't happened today on the one call. So but yeah, so I think as we went through the email and we were just commenting before everybody jumped back in, and again, Dina, hats off for jumping in that last one and taking the first at bat. As we get into it, right, it's a deep email. I think there's a lot of angles to play with it. And again, a lot of times, the devil's in the detail, or might not even be in the email, right? And they're just throwing a bunch of crap at you to see what sticks, and what you bite onto. So let's keep it going with the second one. So Anne-Marie, you good taking the next at bat here for us?
I thought Robert wanted to practice.
Oh, he wants to practice. He'll get plenty of practice. He's got live practice coming too. So if you don't mind taking the next one, and we can go from there.
Same thing, right? It's still going to be Rick and Robert.
No, yeah, you and me. We can just be you and me this time. We swap the names.
Okay. Here we go. Ring, ring.
Yeah, hi. This is Giuseppe.
Hi, Giuseppe. I got your email. Do you have a minute to chat?
Yeah, sure. Who's this?
Hi, this is Anne Marie at Dynamic Web. How's your day going?
Oh, it's kind of a shit show. We had a warehouse fire. It's not been pretty. We've been kind of trying to put out the flames here all day, literally.
Oh, nice. So is this still okay time to chat?
I got a few minutes. Yeah, I know. I mean, we're trying to refine this selection process here, so I'm just trying to see if you guys can be able to make the final table here.
All right. Well, I just wanted to, thank you for giving us the opportunity, to at least come to the table again. And I know, well, since from your email, I saw, you were talking to Hillary and wanted to see if anything's changed since then in terms of your requirements for this project.
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I'm sure some stuff has changed, but holistically, it's the same kind of concept. We need a B2B portal. We need to be able to manage some of these item image attributes. As I kind of highlighted in my email, I think my major concern, as I kind of highlighted, right, was the services numbers, right? And we went back and we actually talked to Western Computer about this, and they were saying you guys went through some changes in your overall pricing, which kind of threw me off. So, I'm trying to figure out what that looks like now.
Got it. Yeah. So, but in terms of, well, just real quick, can I point you to your email again? I saw your content management system, and I was wondering, is that really just product information you want to keep out of nav, but really just build out, I guess, all of the product information in something else, I guess, per se.
Yeah, that's what the guys at Western were pushing us to do. So we re-engaged with those guys, as our new partner, and they were saying that we should be looking for an application like that.
Got it. So the product information, were you going to push it out to any other channels, or is it just for the e-commerce site or the portal you're talking about?
Currently just for our portal, but I know again, phase 2, we're looking at doing a B2C site, so we could potentially need to get it out there. And I'm not sure if our retail manager that's coming on board too, that we're hiring, if he has any goals for taking this out to anywhere else, like the marketplace. Could be a future project.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So we definitely have that solution that you can grow into. We do have a product information management system that can handle that, push it out to, not only enrich your product information, but push it out to various channels. So that's definitely an option for you later on. But we can definitely start with the content management and the e-commerce as a, phase 1. In terms of, I guess, the competition. So did you, I know you were talking about how, we might be a little more expensive, but I was kind of curious in terms of, what was quoted, if we were actually quoting on the same, I guess, requirements.
From what I've seen, right, I gave our initial requirements to Hillary. She came back with the estimates. I've done the same with the other competitors, and they came back with their estimates.
Got it. And so these two, I guess, were there any other concerns that we, I guess, should take a look at as well?
I don't think any concerns, but now that you kind of mention it, in talking with one of your competitors, they were saying it'd probably be really expensive for you guys to build an integration to Perfion. So do you know what that would be? It's something new that just kind of came into the fold second time around.
Yeah, well, actually, Perfion is product information management, and our solution actually comes with or can come with, we offer PIM as well. So there's no need to go to a Perfion because our solution actually has that ability as well. So you can have all that in our solution.
Gotcha. So how do the two products compare?
No, actually don't know much about Perfion, but I can tell you about Dynamic Web's PIM in terms of the, I guess the functionality of that, but definitely the same product information, enriching it. You can actually, I'd be happy to show you a demo of it because it actually pretty cool how we can, have a workflow where we set up, you can actually see which products still need enriching, and then which ones are ready for, I guess, approval from your ecom manager to go ahead and push out that information. But definitely, some workflows available in there. And as I mentioned, it also gives you the ability to push that out to various marketplaces when you're ready to do that.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I think for me, I know we're supposed to see a demo of Perfion, I think next week. So I think it would be good to understand that. I don't think we've seen that part of your guys' application in our history and working with Hillary. So.
Oh yeah, we can definitely schedule that. I'd like to kind of, if we can schedule, I know you have some fires to put out literally, but I definitely want to schedule another call. Maybe we can get one of my solution architects on and kind of see, what was discussed with Hillary, to see if anything has changed within those requirements. But, just, and then, even to go ahead and schedule another demo so you can see our PIM functionality as well. Is that okay? Can we go ahead and schedule something?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if we can get it scheduled, hopefully by end of week, that would be good.
Great.
If not,
Yeah.
early next, just because we need to make that decision here.
Okay. Yeah, I have access to everyone's calendar here. What days are you looking at for your team?
I don't know, like Friday at 9.
All right. Yeah, no, that looks great. It looks like everyone's available. I'll go ahead and send that calendar invite.
Excellent. Well, we'll look forward to speaking with you then.
All right. Thanks,
Thank you.
Giuseppe.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
That wasn't
Copy,
great,
Marie.
but
It was that's and like I said, I mean, I think the nice part about these emails like this, and I know everybody kind of preps, and I'm sure whatever your prep was, I just tore it down, hopefully in a different direction with the partner stuff. But thoughts on everybody, and Anne-Marie, thank you for taking the at-bat and working all the way through it. What were anything anybody wants to step in with, give Anne-Marie some feedback on it?
Yeah, I had a couple comments. You started out asking if anything had changed since last year, which was, I think, a good clarifying question in the beginning of the conversation. And then you also had clarified the PIM need. When I think it was mid-conversation, I saw somebody else had put that you referred to the email. So I think those tied in together well. And then my other one was just, and I know Western isn't your partner, so it probably wasn't as top of mind what our relationship.
I should have said something about that one.
Yeah, I think it's so easy to see it afterwards, but yeah, just pointing that out. But yeah, I think all in all, it was good, and it's when you're on the spot, it's it's hard to work through all of them.
Seriously.
But yeah, nice work.
I thought there were a number of times where you chose not to take the bait and just acknowledged, oh, I see. Okay, I got it. And just kind of acknowledging what he was saying without necessarily letting him control the conversation, and then point back to, more questions. So I thought that was really good. Thanking us for being back at the table, or letting us be back at the table. Was really good. There was another one where, I think that I captured that bait. I was looking at my note here, the not taking the bait. So I thought those were, in particular, were good moments, Anne-Marie.
Mm-hmm.
Closing, you closed on next steps well, like didn't let them off, hey, yep, great. I got my calendar right here. What time on Friday? Let's do this, right? So while there might have been, other areas of opportunity, I really like that you really finally dialed in a next step and got his commitment to that.
Yeah, no, good point. Absolutely, keeping the progression going, keeping control of it.
But Jorgen says, always get that meeting.
Yep.
Right. Another opportunity to talk.
Yeah, and keep diving into it further, right? Because there's clearly a lot more here. Right. I see some other. What else did we catch that was said in the meeting?
We're looking at Perfion.
I like that. You start fishing for product content. Being pushed out to marketplaces and I think that was good because that's clearly a strength of ours. So you tried to get him to acknowledge it. And when he said, well, maybe B2C later on or marketplaces, he said that could be later on. I don't know if that's really in the scope here. I think that was a good identification, but I think you could have done a better job knocking it home when he said that, right? As in, that's great to hear, but then you should probably already now consider, a PIM that's built in because otherwise later on you'll be in trouble, right? If you go with the competition. So I think you did a good job getting that requirement on the table, but you could have knocked it home by saying, then there's only one option. Yeah, right. So that was he tried to then get you to say it by the Perfion comment he had. But of course, I mean, you don't do these calls all the time. Otherwise, you would probably have known stuff about Perfion. I actually don't know, much about them either. But that's probably one of the products we could have put on the competition list, right? We focus mostly on e-commerce, but we should probably start to have the PIM products on the competition list. Then you would have had some things you could have thrown at him, how we compared. But that's more semantics. We can study that. But that was good. Yeah. So feedback from me.
I'll piggyback on the Perfion one. I think it's actually kind of interesting, even though it's comical. Like, I don't know much about Perfion. Like, there'll be times, where we don't know much about the competition, but I think you went into a little bit of a feature set of what our PIM does include. And to, I think, comment on what Jorgen said, I think the finer tooth on, like in that setting a trap, is that's great. We have a very rich PIM. It can stand alone as a PIM. So it's got the robust PIM functionality. The biggest thing that you'll see is you don't have to do another integration. So you don't have to support technical debt of another integration. And the license cost, it's baked into your license cost with Dynamic Web. So you don't have to support a separate license. Like, those two things, I think, as salespeople, we can kind of leverage the setting those traps in that. And I think it's not as big of a competitor that you're aware of, Amory. So
Right.
I'm just sharing that more as an example of sometimes we don't have to compete on the feature set.
Right.
We can compete more on those, what we know,
Right.
or what the cost or overhead or some of those things.
Yeah, good points, Ryan. Those points you mentioned are kind of evergreen. We can always use them, right?
Yeah.
Or to Giuseppe's point yesterday, we can always say, oh, that's interesting. We don't need them that much. That's
Exactly.
Yeah,
Surprised you're looking at them. We don't get a lot of people looking at them.
Yeah.
And that's honestly what I was looking for too. And I think maybe to flip that a little bit, what I would have said, right, as I look at the impact it had on the customer, it's just like he has now put us into a compete mode as opposed to just completely shutting it out. I don't care if you know them or not, right? It's why I really never hear of those guys' name. I know who they are, but none of our customers use it because we have our own PIM application as a company. And you could have flipped it on him. Do you want to introduce another vendor to support your PIM needs? Or would you prefer to have a vendor that has e-commerce and PIM integrated?
Yep, I like that.
Do you think that would simplify your life moving forward? Well, fucking absolutely, right? And you get that commitment immediately from him going into the presentation because you've now put doubt. One of our customers, was using actually, funny enough, Sana and Perfion, and migrated to Dynamic Web and eliminated the two vendor support they previously had and now are under a single umbrella with Dynamic Web. I'd be happy to show you that in the presentation and how seamlessly it all works together. And guess what? Like you mentioned earlier, it would also work for your retail marketplace in the future that you want to kick product out to. So it really hammers it all home.
Really, truly.
And again, you don't need to admit again to it or get into a pissing competition, but nobody wants more vendors, more complexity, and then also you're not going to have to worry about that when you upgrade, right? Which is going to help lower your long-term cost. So all good things to think about. And I think we can repurpose that for things like Perfion or other applications if they're talking about MailChimp or these other marketing applications, right? You look at the stack that's inside of Dynamic Web, and I think we need to remember that piece of the talk track. And again, everybody's minds seem to default to a pissing match on features. Go back to the vendor side of it. Go back to the simplicity of just doing day-to-day operational business. It's going to lower your cost. Number one, it's going to be cheaper long term. And again, well, we're $50,000 more in development, but we have that other application or component baked into our bid too, as opposed to, Perfion's going to be $50 to integrate to an application.
Yeah.
Not to mention the back office maintenance. That was a big one that kind of hit me, that I think would have been a home run. And then also, and maybe just going back, I dumped Western, like, how did they get into the picture might have been a good question, to understand, or even to reference that they're a partner. Once you figure out who made the recommendation at Western, if it was a name we knew of or not, and then who made the recommendation for Perfion, like, how did they find that application? How do they stumble on that? Probably would help us as Jasmine goes in to present, or whoever is going to present, that bit of the application. What feature set do we need to lean on? What is was there a requirements doc for, managing product information that you guys have?
That's really good. I could also see a value play here for like what a storytelling play, like Nancy mentioned earlier. You don't know this yet, Emery, but as you grow, as your scope grows, hey, that's interesting. We have a customer, Ducal. They're actually a Western partner, and they also pursued some PIM needs, and landed with a solution with Dynamic Web using our PIM. Western Computer worked very closely with them on that project as well. And interestingly enough, they're also in the medical supply business. So kind of interesting as we see those case studies come up in demos, it's reminding me to pay really close attention to the ones that I'm not familiar with, right? Who was the partner? What was the business? What's the use case? Like, I have no information about Wilson Daniels, but I've tried to really learn about it so that I can then pull that out as needed and say, oh, that's a wine vertical. Western Computer's the partner. We solved these kind of interesting issues. So, but I'm playing by advantage on that one, Emery. I've been around for a while. Gray hair in my beard.
It's such a good point, right? Learn those. Wilson Daniels, they came from Sana to Dynamic Web. Syndicate came from Sana to Dynamic Web. Corporate Central came from Sana to Dynamic Web. Learn a few of those of the major competitors. Now there's also Navtonet or Digital Vantage Point here. I don't think we have a lot of those competition, and it's a difficult one, right? Because it's such a price pusher, and it's Canadian dollars and very small solution, but probably have a good reputation in Canada, I would assume. But Sana, we certainly have enough competitor overlap, so those are good to learn. To Ryan's point.
Yeah, excellent. Any other feedback? Otherwise, good swing, Anne-Marie, at it. I think you had a lot going on there, and I tried to pull some of the partner stuff in, but without getting you to know Perfion in and out. Okay. Well, we can keep moving on. Again, Anne-Marie, thanks for playing, as I like to say.
Always fun.
And we can move on. So, yes. What are you thinking? Is there somebody who really wants to go next and take another stab at this, or
Ryan, how about you?
Yep, I can go.
All right. All right. Assuming you're ready, steady here.
I can be ready.
All right.
Ring, ring.
Hey, good afternoon.
Ring, ring, ring.
Yeah.
Hey.
Who's,
Hello, is
who's-
this Giuseppe?
Yeah, this is.
Hey, this is Ryan Mead from Dynamic Web. I just got your email. How are you doing today?
Oh, it's been a tough day, man.
Oh,
Tough,
sorry to
tough
hear
day.
that.
Yep.
Typical day or something outside the normal?
No, outside the normal, it's just life hitting.
Yeah.
And it's been tough. Yeah, I had to fire 2 of our internal resources today. We're having some budget issues.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. I know that stuff comes up in leadership. I'm definitely appreciate your time, and I'll try to be quick today. I know you probably have some things to do, but I wanted to follow up on your email. Is now a good time?
Yeah, that's all right.
Great. So Giuseppe, you had mentioned that you're in the process of looking for an e-commerce platform. Understand that you have a couple other companies that are also bidding for that work, and that you worked with Hillary about a year ago.
Yep.
It sounds like you had a good experience with Hillary. That's really good to hear.
Yeah, no, she was great. I mean, her bid she came back with kind of blew us out of the water. But yeah.
Okay. Well, catch me up to speed, Giuseppe. What's happened over the course of the last year? How have your needs changed since then? If you can you give me just a kind of 30,000 foot overview?
Yeah, I mean, we've continued to grow as a company. I would say prior to COVID, and then coming into COVID, things kind of went, up and down, and it's been a little bit of a roller coaster for us as a business. But for us, I think we're still struggling to get some of these new products out to the market, in particular. And as I mentioned, there's some complexity, around the lab services required when purchasing some of our items, where it's not just as simple as purchasing a SKU, as you know, but there's some services component to it. And we need to get these new SKUs itemized now so we can start selling them right now. It's a lot of manual work.
Yeah, I can understand that. So the process for getting product information updated, for getting those services and SKU combinations correct, sounds like that's provided some challenges for you guys.
Yeah, and just trying to find the right provider who can
Sure.
accommodate this need, and that's why we're kind of on the search we're on right now.
Sure. And what system are you guys using today?
We're running Nav.
Nav. Okay. And then how about for your e-commerce? Do you have an e-commerce solution today?
We do. Yeah, it's homegrown.
Homegrown. Okay.
Yep.
And Giuseppe, if you don't mind me asking, what kept you guys from making a decision here? It's been a year, you mentioned. So I imagine you all were looking at this a year ago. What kept you from making a decision back then, or in between now and then?
Yeah, I think between now and then, I think we went through a really good process, I would say, with you guys a year or so ago. And then when honestly the price got dumped on us, it was overwhelming, and we kind of just said, hey, this is too much. If this is what it's going to be like, we'll push this off. We just didn't have budget for it that calendar year, so it kind of pushed back over. That then led into COVID, and now it's kind of back as we're starting to come out of COVID, and here we are.
Yep, understand. Probably like a lot of customers we see. Well, I guess let me clarify. You guys are doing business specifically for B2B, or that's the predominant area. You have some B2C experiences, but mostly B2B, along with like purchasing, self-service functionality, reporting for your B2B customers. Is that a big driver for you?
Yeah, I mean, 90% of our revenue pre-COVID was all coming from our B2B side of the house.
I see. And they're doing most of that business online today, or are they doing a lot of that through sales reps?
Most of it online. I mean, we have some field reps, but obviously it shifted even more to online during COVID.
Yeah, I think we're seeing something like 90% of B2B companies are expecting 90% of their customers to be doing business online. So you guys are probably seeing some of that uptick as well there.
Yeah, we saw it there, and obviously, we've kind of diversified during COVID too, right? I mean, it stayed still very strong.
Yep. Great. Well, that's good to hear. And just follow up on a couple things really quickly to move the needle to next step, Giuseppe. So I think one of the things I hear you saying is that you guys have this need, you have a complex product situation that you need to solve for, and that you're looking at us in comparison to other competitors.
Yep.
Price is obviously a concern for you guys. It has been, and it continues to be a concern for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
What's driving that from a price perspective, if you don't mind me asking?
Just budgets. I mean, these are the budgets we've set.
Yep. And with the competitors, have you received updated estimates from them? Have you gone through that process recently?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we just are almost complete with both, actually.
Okay, great. One of the things that you ask about in here, and I want to follow up on that comment that you made about SKUs and services. We find that a lot of organizations we work with spend a ton of time managing that like volume of product data, the internal processes that go around updating products, updating product information, to, like you said, set up products so that they're tied, the SKUs are directly tied to the services related to them. Is that a concern that you guys have internally?
Yeah, I would say that's a concern.
Okay. Have you looked into a product information management system, Giuseppe, to see if that would be a valid solution for that?
I don't know. I mean, I've heard, and again, we asked around a little bit, and just the ones we've asked that to, it's like, the applications come with a pretty hefty price tag, which, based on where our budget's at today, it's like, I don't even know if we could handle that on top of us already kind of pushing budgets.
Yeah. Definitely understand that price is a concern. And one of the things that we've seen with our customers that they're actually able to eliminate or reduce prices over time. The dynamic web product, the content management system that you indicate, the e-commerce solution that you're looking for, we actually have a baked in product information management system. So if you look at the cost over time of being able to reduce complexities in-house, reduce team overhead, reduce integrations as you might look to set up third-party product information management systems with other vendors. We've really seen customers find cost savings over time by going to that type of a model, because it's all underneath the same hood, under the same hood with dynamic web product. So if you haven't looked into that, I'd love to include that as we kind of get back to the table and look at what the right solution set is for your team. I'd love to be able to point out some of the values and the benefits of using that for your solution here.
Do you have any ROI documentation on that? I mean,
Yeah.
Again, because I already know we're well over with you guys, right? And I just don't see how we could add any more to it right now, unless there was a very clear, cost reduction back office for us, which, like I said, I mean, I had to get rid of a few people just today, which is really tough. So.
Yeah, that's never a good spot to be in. I can appreciate that. I can definitely get you some customer information on that, Giuseppe, and some ROI. I think one of the questions I'd have as you look at the competitors, one of the things that we see when working with other organizations, it's not uncommon for them to share a base cost, like starts at $40,000 and 4 weeks to implementation, something, along those lines. And so one of the things that I always recommend folks as you're going through your due diligence is make sure you're asking questions of us and questions of the other folks that you're looking at on what's included in that cost and what's not included in that cost. I think those are two important things for you to consider as you start talking, then comparing apples to apples. Because while dynamic web might sound more expensive at first pass, one of the things we try to do is build in, based on our experience over, years of experience on what we know that it's really going to take to implement a solution. And so we try hard not to lowball or come in at a lower just to get your business. We really want to give you a fair price based on our experience. So I would just encourage you to make sure you're asking for that. And maybe that's something you can follow up on between now and I'd love to set up a meeting with you if you'd be interested in that, to show you, revisit the solution, revisit that PIM so that we can talk about the value that would add for you all. And maybe you can do some of that homework in between now and then. How does that sound?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. So outside of the price and seeing the value, I heard you say that you'd like to see some return on investment numbers. Outside of that return on investment value understanding, Giuseppe, do you have any other concerns that would keep you, or that we need to make sure we clear up before you make a decision on using dynamic web?
No, I don't think so, Ryan.
Okay. If I can move towards them. One thing I'd also like to do on our next call, we have a company that we work with. The name of that company is Ducal. They're in the medical supplies business as well. And they also are on Nav integrated and are heavily using our PIM solution. So when we meet next time, I'd like to share a little bit of that story so you can see how they also made that migration from a homegrown solution like yourself to using dynamic web e-commerce. And I'd also like to make sure that I show you in our PIM how we can tie SKUs directly to services so that you can either add those in cart or buy up to those services after your initial. I understand that's a complexity you guys are looking to solve. So I'll make sure that our team demos how that can be handled when we meet together. How's that sound?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Okay, great. Well, then let's set up a time. I have tomorrow at 4 p.m. or Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. Do either of those times work for you?
4:30 will work.
4:30. Sounds great. We'll lock it in. I'll get a couple people on my team to join us and show you all the wonderful things that we can show you. Giuseppe, have a great day.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah.
All right. Work, Ryan.
Good job.
Nice work.
Thoughts, guys? Thoughts? Anybody want to jump in? I see quite a few Post-its out here.
Glad I wasn't looking at those while I was demoing.
Oh, jeez.
Or while I was.
You can't even, right? It's the worst.
It is the worst.
Oh my God, somebody put something up.
I like how
All right.
you highlighted Ducal at the end to make sure you tied in the story that could resonate really well with them because it's a very similar use case. And then that you reiterated as you were wrapping up and solidifying next steps, getting the commitment and the yes back from him. You pulled in specifically what you would show or wanted to show for PIM with the SKUs and the PIM challenge or data product challenge. I thought that was really good to work that in as a kind of building some trust and adding some value before you guys wrapped it up.
Nice point.
Yep.
Agreed.
Good amount of open questions, Ryan. Really good job on doing that. And you continue to hold back and not start to pitch, right? Typically we do one or two and then we start pitching features. You just kept on, right? Trying to poke a hole, sitting from the inside, knowing, our feature set, our strength. It was clear you had a mission, absolutely clear. But it came across as conversational. You're just asking questions around, but you were waiting to plan your sales pitch around what you knew is our strength. So I was noting that clearly a guy who has an idea of where he want to go, exploring the entire situation because you wanted to set traps. But again, it came across as conversational. So I think that was really strong as well. So good job.
Thanks.
What else? Anybody else? Something they heard, saw, they liked, or they would have done a little different?
When you talked about the ROI and I guess the total cost of ownership, that seemed to kind of shift Giuseppe a little bit. It kind of gave him a different mindset where he kind of got over the, Sonic could do the whole thing for 50,000. When you put that seed out there, it seemed like it completely changed it where he was more engaged and more open to going to the next steps. So the ROI and the cost part, the total cost, I think kind of resonated with me a little bit more, or significantly actually.
Okay.
And just to add on to that, I just want to say, I love that you said, you talked about that we have the years of experience behind us, that when we give quotes, we're not just lowballing to win you over. We have the expertise and knowledge behind us to give you an accurate of what it's going to take. And so you talked about experience and how long we've been in here, and I thought that was good.
I
What
felt
did,
like there was a lot that I wanted to say. You know, I felt like there was a lot that I wanted to go down, and taking notes. And I do this oftentimes too for like my demos, so that on the demo, then I go through and speak exactly to some of the benefits or some of the value, you know. But I don't know, did I miss opportunity to address more of those on the call?
So the one that stuck out to me was what was the real left field item from the call, and did we address it? Who picked up on something really strange that happened in the call?
Well, you fired somebody on the beginning of the call.
Two people.
Yeah. Yep. So
what departments?
In your department, wasn't it?
Oh, I didn't catch what departments.
Been purchasing, but I said, yeah, we had to fire 2 people.
Yeah. I did not catch what departments.
So it's interesting, you know, when you have these calls and we get tidbits, and I before I start all these calls, I kind of put a couple holes in the bucket that I try to fill. But for me, that was
including a fire in the warehouse.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's like you have a fire. I mean, you're firing people. It's interesting. Oh, it's interesting. What department was it? You know, these guys are looking for a new project. You're talking about ROI. They've just lost 2 bodies. What if those bodies were managing product data?
Yeah.
You know,
totally.
And this is a way to repurpose. Not that they didn't have the money to begin with, but now they're even more strapped with that. And it could have been the flip, right? You're hesitant to implement and invest the money in a PIM, but you know, our PIM will not only do that. And it's funny, I did one other hole that I said twice too, because I tried to dump them in there twice. I mentioned we diversified over COVID, and you really didn't say, well, how did you diversify? But I also mentioned some growth with our B2C site as well in the call. So I was kind of hoping to lead you down a path for, oh, there's more going on the B2C side, even though I said the B2B was still a big part of it, and then tie that back into the overall day-to-day maintenance with the body. So that was my trap for this in myself as I was building, all going back to, you know, if you would have maybe dug down the B2C hole a little bit and dug into the bodies hole, it would have been, well, they were actually doing item maintenance, commerce maintenance on our B2C site that had actually grown, as I mentioned, and from there. So
yeah,
that's where my head was in the background behind all this and what I was trying to get into. And again, sometimes those nuggets that they drop in there mean nothing, but that's where my head was, Ryan. Just as
that's really good, because I tried to get at some of that internal efficiency process, right? By going after the question about, oh, do you guys, you know, there's a lot of that online. Is that, you know, do they take orders? Hoping it was going to be, it was too close question, right? No, we do all our business through e-commerce. Shit. Okay. Switch gears. No, that's really good though.
Yeah. That's what I like about these two. It's like we go what we went through, and you went through a lot of good stuff too. It's just sometimes we trip over or skip over the little things that don't necessarily resonate, that sometimes can be real big factors. And usually if I do these in person, I usually pass out the scenario to everybody in the audience, so you know what the person up who's in the hot seat or hot plate, as I call it, should be trying to get to. But it's good, because then it really focuses and frames your mind to look for the little details and things that sometimes can lead to a bigger value add in the end. And in this case, I think would have been a real strong value add for the PIM case.
Yeah, that's a great point.
It's a really good point. Giuseppe, you brought that up to me also in conversations we have had about total cost of ownership and about a return on investment on PIM. We often forget that the body element, the amount of man hours that goes into maintaining product information. You know, one thing is to control it and have a centralized repository, right? But really, you know, the amount of hours that goes into maintaining it, I put in some facts on that from a recent Forrester. We're probably evaluating that later today, or some of that homework we had. It's a lot of work that goes into it if you look across an organization. I think that's one of the facts we should be playing a little bit harder. So yeah, that's a good point. Really good point. you always fire somebody or you have a fire or what. I think that's fun.
Right. Yeah, it's never, but there's always something behind it, right? And the changes and the coming and going and the COVID issues that I kind of brought up, right? There was a lot going on in the background that was really, really busy. Some of it noise, some of it more relevant, but it's just hard to wade your way through all of it.
Sure.
Good. Well, no, good, Ryan. I thought it was good. I mean, you burned through it. I thought your angles on a lot of it were really strong too. So nice.
Good, thanks.
Yeah. Anybody else? Closing thoughts before we move on? Try to get one more in here. Okay. Let's move on. Let's try to get one more. We got about 30 minutes left, 35 minutes at this point. So yeah, let's just try to get one more knocked in and then we can conclude. So Robert, you want to take a stab at this? I know you got a call coming up on this too, so maybe this can just be some prep for you to go through.
Yeah, sure.
You good?
Yeah, I'll be good. I was just going over stuff, trying to replay what I'm covering with him in the next phone call. So yeah, it should be fun.
All right.
All right. Well,
let's kick
ring,
it off.
ring.
Hello.
Hi, is this Giuseppe?
This is.
Hey, Giuseppe, how you doing? It's Robert calling from Dynamic Web. How are you today?
Good. I'm doing pretty well, Robert.
All right, well, that's good to hear, especially, it's halfway through the week. It's on a Wednesday. So,
right.
What I want to do is, I want to thank you for actually taking my call. And actually, it's in response to the email that you sent to me. So, I understand you kind of spoke to Hillary probably about a year ago, and I just kind of want to go over a couple open items and kind of pick up things from there. I mean, how does that sound? Do you have time today?
Yeah, I got a few minutes.
All right, great. So I guess for me, for a quick recap to make sure that I'm completely up to speed, it looks like you currently were engaged with us. I guess for some odd reason, you kind of backed out. And you're currently, I guess, are you still currently engaged with the process with Santa and NavToNet?
Oh yeah, we're very engaged, and I mean, I don't think it's really all that shocking. I mean, we backed out because you guys threw a freaking huge number at us, and it tanked my budget, so we walked away at that point.
Okay.
And that's why we've engaged some other vendors this time around. Last time it was just you guys. Now you guys got some competitors in there.
Okay. I totally understand. I think what might have happened is there might have been a ballpark number thrown out to you without actually doing a little bit more due diligence on our side for you as a potential customer.
Is that how you guys typically do it?
Giuseppe, I'm gonna be very transparent with you. I've been with the company for about 3 months right now. So I guess there's been some process changes. So it might have been something they've done in the past. I'm not 100% sure. But going forward, we do have an approved process. And the process is, basically want to get to have a better understanding of your requirements, which I do currently see here in the body of your email. But what I would prefer to do is re-engage with you and actually kind of set up a follow-up demo of what we can do for you. But prior to me setting up a demo, I want to get a better idea of some of the other things outside of, you looking at a content management system or just even us for e-commerce or possibly even for PIM. I mean, has there anything else changed on your side that I might have to take into consideration going forward?
I'm not sure if it changes the scope of this project from what we talked about. I mean, is there? We saw a demo and talked with Hillary about a demo. I mean, is there anything that's changed in your application? I mean, because I don't know if we really need another demo.
Well, we've rolled out, again, as I try to explain, is that we rolled out a low-code, no-code approach to our product. So it has had an impact on our pricing. So if it's something that you think that you'd want to engage with, please let me know, because then what I can do is I can actually set the demo for you. So we can actually show you our new approach and our new methodology. How does that sound?
I mean, I'd rather just see the change in the cost.
Well, it's kind of hard to show a change in the cost without showing you the benefit and feature set of our product. Again,
the cost went up?
No, the cost went down. I literally said our low-code approach is unique now because we've been able to reduce our development and implementation timelines.
Okay.
So let me ask you a question. What does your calendar look like this week?
I'm slammed this week.
Right.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, all we're really looking for is to see if you guys can rework your price, to see where you guys are at. Because, like I said, I'm already familiar with you guys' application. I understand if it's new technology, it's fine. If the cost has gone down, though, I'm assuming you can just rework the contract with the lower cost and send it back to me.
Well, I guess I can say the approach that we have now in mythology and just trying to, instead of reworking the price to you and setting it based off the requirements we have, we want to make sure we do our full due diligence. We want to make sure that we're covering all bases and to make sure that we can present you proper pricing. It's something that, prior, again, the pricing before you said was too high. So now what we want to do is take a deeper dive and make sure that what we're rolling out for you now is not going to be a benefit for you, but also making sure that our pricing is aligned well with what you're looking to invest. So I guess, again, my question is, are you busy or available early next week?
Yeah, we can get on a call. I just want to make sure that it's a call to go through the requirements.
It'll be a call to go through requirements, and on top of it, actually might open up some other action items that you might not have thought of when you're looking to roll out your new site. So, question I have for you, what does your calendar look like on Tuesday?
Tuesday, I got about 30 minutes in the morning at about 8:30 Eastern. Is that going to work?
Do you have a little more time? I'd actually like to schedule an hour so we can have some open question and answers after it.
Yeah, I don't know, Robert. I think right now we're pretty strapped. I'm in the middle of a big update that I'm a part of, and we have a couple big contracts that we're trying to get closed off too. Is there a way we could just go through some of the details then in a 30-minute period?
If you don't mind me asking, Giuseppe, what are you currently updating?
We're updating some of the static content on our sites.
Okay. Well, how about this then? How about we'll take that 30 minutes and we'll make a run at it? How does that sound?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Is there anybody else I should include on the invite?
Well, I mean, you tell me. I mean, you want to reconfirm requirements here. So who do you think we're going to need from my side?
Well, I'm kind of curious, who actually handles the content. I guess apparently you and your team handle the content, the CMS piece, correct?
Yeah, we have an individual who's in charge of all the content. We have our front end developers. We have our back end developers. So,
do you think it would be a benefit if you invited the three of them to the meeting?
Well, they're in the middle of an update right now, so I'd rather not pull them in unless I need them. I mean, what do you need, you think, on this call? Like, what do we want to nail through to get this dev estimate updated with your guys' new process?
Well, I'm looking at the CMS part that we're looking to cover for you. So I thought it might be important to actually have your front end developer on it. On the e-commerce piece, I'm not sure how many people you'll actually have that are part of that team.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to do is see if maybe we can cover all these things in one 30-minute presentation. That's my end goal. If we need to have multiple meetings for this, is something I can easily arrange also. On top of it, if you want, what I can do is actually make a recording of us, and actually you can send it to your team. They can come back with any answers or questions from there.
Okay. Yeah, well, let's do that. Then I'll just pull in my front end lead, and we can go there and try to keep it nice and tight. And then from there, if we need to come back to the well and pull in somebody else based on whatever comes up, we can.
All right, great. I'll send out the confirmation email to you, and we'll get going from there.
Sounds good. All right, Robert.
Thanks,
I'll look forward to the email. Right. Have a good day.
You got it.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
That sucked.
You're brutal, man. You are brutal.
You never had a guy say he doesn't want a demo?
Totally.
I've been chewed out for that in the past. I've listened to calls where that's happened. Yeah. It's like, no, I don't want a demo. I send me a recorded demo. I don't want to get out and watch a demo. I already know the product. But I would agree it was pretty brutal. I went at him pretty hard on it because I was looking for something else. But what did we hear or see? But Robert, thank you for thanks for keeping at it.
I just tried staying in the fight. The goal is always to get keep on pushing to get the demo. And the person says no, try to get that no into a yes. Something that was kind of brutal on my part, but I just wanted to keep on pushing to get you to commit. knowing that if I can get you to commit the value we can show you through the presentation, along with everything else that we can provide to you, I know I can take that hard no now and slowly turn it into a yes and keep on going.
So what do we think? What did we hear? What was the impact? Anybody? Got a handful out here.
I'll go first. I thought you did a good job, kind of what you were just speaking to, Robert, working through getting his commitment for the next call. Because you easily could have just, let him slide without confirming who's on the next call, what you're going to cover. And I think there were some more opportunities to focus more on the value selling. I felt like how I was taking it was, there was a lot of back and forth, and it almost felt like you were getting into like a defensive trap, which I think can be really easy to do. But yeah, that's just kind of what my perspective of it was. And then I think the other thing was you had a good opener as far as just kind of like, being friendly, mentioning that we had worked together in the past. And actually I'm seeing some other comments. I don't want to take everybody's. So I think I'll just add, I think in the beginning you were jumping to showing a demo in the first couple of sentences before clarifying and trying to add value. So those were the ones that stuck out to me the most.
I think one of the nice things we have is, especially in this situation, is we're coming in green. So it's nice because you're not Hillary a year later. Hey, let's get back. Can I get an updated quote? Right. So I think it's a really good excuse to step back and say, hey, who are you? What's your business? What do y'all do? Kind of get me up to speed. To your point, Dina, might have helped. Some of that early conversation might have helped to break the ice a little bit, get him a little bit more conversational.
That's a good point. Anyone else? What else do we hear?
I think it was good how he highlighted the value in the changes to what we do to be able to leverage the next call. Being able to like highlight the no code, highlight the pricing changes to be able to secure the next call, that it wouldn't be like the same thing from before. And then I also think, oh no, I'm getting old. I can't remember.
Girl, you are not getting old. If you're old, we're all ancient of days.
Oh my God, what was I gonna say? Oh, the front end developer. When he was mentioning how complex this change of static information was, could speak right to the low code, no code, and he could have been an opportunity to ask, oh, what is your front end developer doing? Is it code? I think it'd be good to get him on the call because this solution is low code, no code, and he can spend that time maybe doing other things within the company.
Yep. It's a good point. Yeah, really well said, Jasmine. Who else?
I was thinking when you guys started talking about competition, Robert, you asked Giuseppe about competition, and he said, "Oh yeah, sure, we're way into talking about the competition," or something like that. He definitely gave that impression. I was thinking that you could have asked, if he had any concerns about the competition, since he was still willing to take your call, right? Because it's interesting to explore what's holding him back. It's quite a while ago since we dropped out of the race the first time around, so it is interesting to hear why he hasn't signed with them yet, or what's holding him back, right? Because that might be something we could use in our pitch as well. It can be a dangerous question. You need to understand a little bit maybe before you ask that question, because he could be in a situation where he's really in love with the competition and he's just taking your call because you called him. You don't want to have that answer, right? But it is interesting to explore a little bit more on the competition before booking the meeting as well.
Well, and I was thinking the same thing because all I was doing was pushing for a number.
Yeah.
And when somebody wants a number, what do they want to do? They have 3 columns they have to submit to the board, and you're the last one in line. All they need is your number.
Exactly.
In with the, if and when that's the case, all you now do is pull in your team and ask them to demo and waste their time because it's not a really qualified lead. And that's what killed me about, I would say, your approach. You know, he wanted the number. So what I think would have been stronger is to figure out how you leverage the demo, getting him to the point where he could have that number.
Yeah.
And I think where you stepped in a deep hole was talking about how we changed our process, you know, to now not necessarily going through a deeper dive, which I commented Hillary didn't necessarily do, or you kind of, and now the process is we demo first.
Yeah.
But as a customer, that's not giving me what I want or making me feel like you understand my business. If you're just going to say, I want to show you what we have. I want to show you what we have. I want to show you what we have. We want to get in and talk through your requirements more. You know,
Right.
I think would be if I was the customer, and maybe I don't know how many people agree with me on the call, but if I'm the customer and I don't feel like the number's right, or you're telling me the numbers are off for whatever reason, the only way the number's off is if we misread something.
Mm-hmm.
Giving me another presentation isn't going to help anything. So that's why I was very hard on it, because for me it's like I don't want to be pushed into a demo.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody wants to go into a demo, you know.
I felt a little bit like, okay, I got to close on the demo, like in the role play. Like I hadn't necessarily thought, what am I closing on, right, in my prep.
Yep.
And so I think the trap that I hear you saying, Giuseppe, is maybe that a demo isn't always the right next step, right? And as salespeople, myself included, we can play a card that says, hey, listen, I'd love to get you a qualified or re-evaluated estimate. You know, we actually lean into some senior members of our delivery team to create rough order of magnitude so that we're not just throwing you ballpark numbers. And because it's been a year, I'd love to get you together with some of our current senior leadership or, you know, delivery team or something, and then plant the trap of, are you finding some line item type estimates from the other competition, or are they also just throwing you just broad numbers or something? But close on a more of a deeper discovery, or can we spend 30 minutes and just talk through a little bit more? What does CMS mean, right? We have a lot of content management solutions and they all look different. Could we spend a few minutes on that next call getting me up to speed and my team up to speed on what does that look like for you?
Right.
Or whatever. Just plant those seeds. I think not always closing on a demo is what I'm trying to say.
Well, and I think when you get into requirements too, and you know, I heard it, I think in one or two of the calls too today, maybe even three, you know, I saw your requirements in the email. For me, that wasn't requirements. That was a list of a couple bullet notes. That's not the detail, which is what's going to make that number move up or down. Right. You know, low code, no code, you still have a freaking bunch of requirements that are going to need to be built. We need to know those requirements. So yeah, we want to get you on a call, you know, to go through those requirements in more detail. And part of that very well might be a little dog and pony inside of there, or to show how it's being accessed. But in the end, I think it's asked for what the updated requirements are. Do you have a new updated document? Do you have something more extensive that what you've given here? So we can refine our estimates and scope based on the fact that we have new technology, which I think you very clearly pointed out, Robert, trying to build the value. It's just, I think it should have been piggyback with something more than just we're no code, low code now, which can change potential scope.
You know, the one question I think I've have to ask also is, how come you haven't, you know, it's been a year and you still haven't made a decision, you know, and why are you coming back to us after a year? Well, I just thought about that right now, you know. You know, it's a year later and now you're coming back to us. So.
Yeah. No, good point.
Robert, the thing about closing on the next step, closing on a demo, just want to make sure, you know, you're not taking that the wrong way. I think that's first and foremost sales folks' job to move the ball to next step. And I was just commenting with, you know, on you in the beginning of this call here. I had 3 calls this Friday with you, 3 new biz calls on website, whatever events, right, that come up. So closing folks in on a call next step, that's great. Perfect. So there's a lot of sales folks out there that are just exploring, but they can't move the ball to next step. Totally. So please continue to move the ball. I think the feedback here is, see if you can gather a little bit more info, because that means going into that call will be stronger. We'll know how to pitch instead of just, because afterwards you don't have a lot to give Jasmine, so she can hit a home run for you, or to give Ryan if he's on the call with you, or me, because we just know there is a call. We don't really know how to pitch it right. So see if you can get a little bit more out of him, but continue to close on a call, close on next step, whatever that is, because that moves the ball down the field, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking now when you said you had the 30 minutes, I should have said, listen, during the 30 minutes, let's have a qualified business discussion over what you're looking to do. It's something I think I kind of messed up on, thinking that I'm already at the demo level, not the discovery. So that's something I'm looking now and I'm like, I know exactly what I did wrong. The 30 minutes, I should say, listen, let's have a qualified business discussion and go from there. In 30 minutes, we can cover a lot,
Well, and I would even challenge, right, just the thought process, Robert, because I mean, in the end, to Jorgen's point, you move the ball forward, which is what you want, but keep in mind how we want to move it forward. Right. I can't count the number of people that would come to our door knocking and want a demo, and our first response was no. Because I'll be damned if I had any of my salespeople bring in a demo resource, for an unqualified lead. If anything, you're getting on that first discovery call, you're doing a deeper dive to figure out what needs to be demoed. Otherwise, all you demo is a bunch of shit that nobody cares about.
It might even hurt. It might even hurt you, actually.
Yeah, I think it does 100%, right? Because at that point, the client leaves with their needs not being being met versus they covered the 4 things I really wanted to see. And I think those 4 things you could have refined coming out of a 30-minute window that this guy would have given you if you would have said, all right, well, we have CMS and we have commerce, right? Can you send me your updated requirements doc? We'll go through it together on that initial call. And from there, we'll be able to refine our estimate. And if there's anything else we need to show you, I'd ask that maybe we follow up and we can give you, we can showcase that at a later date and time. How does that sound? Just to still give him what he wants and to tell him that you're getting to what he wants, which is the number, right? If he's going to give you the time, if you're going to tell him you can get there, but it's like it's a little bit of a trade, right? You ask for a little bit of his time, and in return, you're going to get him to that number that he's pounding on you for.
I agree.
Yep.
I like it. Anybody else? See anything
All right, the folks that didn't get to go today get to go next time, so we'll make sure that happens.
I'm sure they're all super excited about it. I could tell Scott was itching to go see what Brad and Jasmine. They're all like, "Yeah." Nancy's still wondering if she's.
It's like literally my worst nightmare in life is this role playing that we're doing right now.
Brad loves marketing, not direct sales.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I like to type my answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, periodically though. I mean, marketing, you play a big role when you have to get on these calls and stuff gets dumped on you too, right?
Brad can pitch.
Yep.
I've seen him at events. He can pitch.
Yes. What you did at that show.
Yep.
Bring in all those partner leads. That was awesome.
You should have finished it off with the drum roll.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know we have a little bit of time, but maybe we'll come back and similar to yesterday, I got another board. Let's see if I can pull everybody up to me. To the top left in Miro, just kind of key takeaways from the day. I know we'll probably try to chat about it tomorrow, but maybe any key takeaways from the day today. There's a series of things up here, guys, on the upper left.
And Jorgen, I know we have a session tomorrow afternoon. It's like a little bit of follow-up next steps. Also, if we don't get it to tomorrow, I saw a lot of great facts that people were dropping off. Might be great to actually capture those somewhere in a little bit of a library in OneNote, maybe.
Yeah, but
Are we going to talk about the facts?
Yeah, I think we should talk about the facts, Ryan.
Yeah.
I mean, with Giuseppe challenging us with it. And
yeah,
I think,
maybe if you don't mind reading them, Ryan, that'd be cool. While everybody's kind of putting their takeaways in here, maybe to go through them, whatever anybody shared, if we have them somewhere.
Yes. And
Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to ask Nancy there's a section. Nancy, did you see the homework facts section in Miro?
Yes, I did.
Can you at some point today or tomorrow or by end of week just capture those and dump them into a OneNote like subpage?
Sure.
That way we'll have them to pull from. But yeah, here's some interesting ones. Sales leaders on average rate digital channels for B2B approximately twice as important since onset of COVID. Let's see, there's a lot of good ones. Wine vertical, for the most part, alcohol brands have been slower than other brands in other industries to unlock the full potential of e-commerce and social commerce. Spirits industry is finally making a big move from brick and mortar stores to the digital world. Suffice it to say, the industry is enjoying its time. E-commerce limelight. Oh, that's cool. There's a skyrocketing Nielsen report.
Yeah, wasn't it like 283% of alcohol is of explosion?
Oh, it's crazy.
That was
right?
one of the ones I looked for stuff specifically to address the wine vertical.
Gotta drink
And
like a
so I
fish
looked
when
at
you're
that.
trapped
Yeah.
inside.
COVID has really changed the world. So, and it's gone more digital. So
Yeah. Here's one interesting reduced time to market. 79% of new products fail to make it to market on time. A PIM solution helps improve processes, resulting in reduced time to market from weeks to days. 82% of
Where was that at
organizations.
for your call, Ryan?
I know, right? 82% of it is, yeah. 82% of organizations reported that managing volumes of data from multiple sources is daunting and tedious. Eliminate data silos and streamline processes through a centralized PIM. There's a lot of great ones in here. I'm just like reading them as I scroll.
Nice work, guys. Where were some of the sources we pulled them from?
Looks like Gartner, Nielsen I mentioned, Forrester was on there.
I had one.
McKinsey.
We have a call today with a customer, and they were talking about the ongoing maintenance, about this whole the thing that we have integrations built in, maintaining integrations, and our director from Solution Architect, Jason, he just slacked the customer. A statistic I picked up. He said for 5 years in a row, 21% of the overall cost is the stage of planning and development. The other 79 is it goes into maintaining integrations and maintaining software. That's a lot, right? So think about that over 5 years, and that might tie into the thing that we are a little bit more upfront because we are configuring PIM, we're configuring all-in-one, we're configuring e-commerce and marketing. But after that, the maintenance is lower versus all the other pieces that needs to be tied in. I think that was interesting. That was a Forrester source.
A good one.
That's a great one.
Yeah. If you don't have any more too, maybe just summarizing some of the takeaways from today. Sorry, I had that sitting on the screen. Be more conversational. I think great takeaway, right? Listen and focus. Well, I put this one. Listen, but I went to it anyways. Listen to and focus on the client ask, right? And we want to control the cycle, but we still have to listen in to what they're saying. Active listening, stay positive, have a conversation and listen. Learn customer success stories. Again, another great one. You can never do enough of that. Pay attention to new information that's mentioned on the call. Little details can add a lot of value. Know what you are closing for in the call. And I know that was one of the things that I said, like, what is the goal? What is the goal as we come into this call? If the call is the demo and it flips to something very different, we need to change and modify our goals sometimes. And maybe it goes from getting a demo, or maybe it goes from closing the sale to, shit blows up, and maybe we have a new goal we have to put in place, right? Maybe it's just keeping them around for another day, right? And keeping the warm plate beneath these guys because of what's happened or changed in their business, i.e. a warehouse fire. I can't remember, God, I want to say it was like, I still remember this. I think it was 2009, right about when the market crashed. I remember within like a period of 2 months, we had 3 customers' warehouses burned down. Big prospects that we were evaluating, and they were gone for like 3 years and never heard from them again. The project never came back because they lost so much revenue. But literally, like 3 of them, we go into closing calls. What warehouse burned down? Warehouse burned down, and I was like, it crippled our quarter. But stuff like that happens, right? And in that case, you just got to kind of pivot and look back to, how can I retain these guys? How can I keep their trust, for whenever they come back? And as you guys know, some of these sales cycles go on for a couple of years, and you get them down the road and you convert them.
Right.
So sometimes it pays, to be selfless and just be there for them, or appear to be there for them, right?
Yeah.
And focus on what they really need, and sympathize too if shit really hits the fan. Some great takeaways here. Love it. Awesome. Jorgen, Ryan, any other thoughts for the day? I know we got a few minutes left here. I didn't know if anybody had anything else to wrap or summarize with.
Go ahead, Jorgen.
Yeah, no, really good day. It's definitely want to thank the folks that volunteered to be in the fire with Giuseppe here. It's good for the rest of us to sit back and evaluate, and and then it's easy to be the wise guys, right? To come up with all the things that could have been said, but that's also where the learning is for all of us, right? Where we can kind of watch. We never had that opportunity to watch the live in slow motion or repeat it again, right? So this is really valuable. Good to hear all the active, all the listening, the open questions that was done. I enjoyed listening to when there was a plan of where the call needed to go, and it was clear where we wanted to pull out of them. That was really good. So appreciate all of that. That's a good exercise. So thanks, Giuseppe, for facilitating and leading us through this. Really a good day. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said before, it's in what you guys are putting into it, right? It's the only way we're changing here or evolving is learning and seeing what we're doing well or what we're struggling with, and how to do it better. And I think that'll be a large part of our day tomorrow as well, tying into tomorrow. We'll go through a segment here on storytelling, painting a picture, which again I think Ryan tried to pull in as well today as Dina into the conversation with some of those stats, but I think getting a little bit more visual with it as much as we can will be really strong. So we'll talk through that for the bulk of the day tomorrow in terms of what we get into and what's to come. So if you have, and again, more homework, right? Think about some that you might want to plug into your storytelling, what that looks like, and we'll walk through how you build out stories and how you can really get a customer engaged and to buy into that story.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Great.
Good. Cool. Well, Robert, do you see our lineman's testing lab? They just logged on now. That's the real one, not the Giuseppe one. The real.
Now you have to reset your brain so you don't think about all the stuff you already know about this guy. How's the office fire going? You guys get that fire put out?
Right.
Like, so you fired 2 people and you brought her right off and she joined the circus. That's great. So
right,
what we can do for you?
Good. It's good. All right, guys. So afternoon is partner stuff from Ryan. Giuseppe, will you be part of it or will you sneak out?
I'm gonna try to jump into part of that as well for you guys. Yeah.
All right. Okay, good. Well, looking forward to seeing you guys in a little while. Have a good break, and we'll see you later.
Sounds great. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Good day.
Great work, guys.
Good morning.
Good
Yeah.
day.
Thanks,
Bye.
Giuseppe. Bye. Bye.